Good morning. It's now 5 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Well, feeling it this morning, aren't you? It's 44 degrees right now, and our high temp today is just 61. We'll have some cloudy skies as well. Stick around for the full forecast coming up. Well, welcome to the start of early voting in Tennessee. Starting today, you can head out to your local polling place to vote. Remember that Tennessee is one of 6 states that require photo identification to vote. So your driver's license, military ID, or your passport will do. 2 people have been arrested in connection with that gang-related shooting after the TSU homecoming parade on Saturday. 24-year-old Marquez Davis and 24-year-old DeAnthony Brown. They were both tracked down by police at a short-term rental along 28th Avenue North just a short while ago, sometime last night. Both have been in trouble with the law before. They're both charged with murder. 1 person was killed in that shooting and 9 others were injured. A woman is dead after being shot at a popular park in Antioch. Witnesses tell police that a man was seen on top of that woman when the shooting happened last night in the Mill Creek Greenway, a spot where a lot of people go to walk those walking trails.
It's kind of surprising that this happened because a lot of people in the community do walk these trails. And I had a sense of security and safety, and now, I'm thinking twice about it. But on the side that this happened, I would never think that this would happen because it's such a big open area, and it seems like more people walk on that side.
That woman telling Channel 4 that the suspect drove off in a dark-colored 4-door car. Market Numbers Report now brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Here's Brian Clark.
U.S. stocks leading the charge as the markets add to their all-time highs Monday. The Dow closing up 201 points, the Nasdaq coming in 160 points higher, while the S&P picked up 45. The acting Secretary of Labor, Julie Su, in Seattle, meeting with Boeing negotiators and the union representing striking machinists. The ongoing strike passed the 1-month mark over the weekend. It followed Boeing's announcement that it plans to cut 17,000 jobs and delay some delivery dates. Bath & Body Works apologizing and pulling a product from store shelves after online commentators compared the design of the snowed-in candle to Ku Klux Klan hoods. A spokesman for the company said in a statement the mistake was unintentional and the company's committed to fixing it. And Lily Ledbetter, an Alabama factory manager whose fight for equal pay from her employer led to new wage discrimination legislation, has died. She was 86. Brian Clark, ABC News.
Futures this morning are really unchanged. The Dow futures are up 66, but we've got NASDAQ futures down 35 and the S&P futures losing 2 points. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather still to come. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
Couple of trouble spots already this morning in Nashville. It's a crash involving some injuries at Ewing Drive and Vista Lane. And in Glencliff, an accident that's blocking off the right shoulder. The westbound lanes of 24 at Briley Parkway South, exit 54. That one will cause some delays as you're headed into work this morning. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Information fueled,
opinion driven. This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
we talk news.
5:06, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. How are you? 3 weeks until Election Day. All right, so who among us is going to early vote? You're going to early vote, JB? Joan, how about you? You going to early vote?
Yes, I am.
I was going to totally judge you if you said no.
No, in fact, when I do it on my way home from work today.
Do you know what? I am thinking about doing it today, too, just to make a statement.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you know what? Why not? That's what conservatives need to do. You got to early vote.
Right. So the GOP has been saying that one of the reasons that they want us to do that is because the ground game. So what they want us to do is go vote early so that they know who all has voted. And then as it gets closer to Election Day, if they know this person hasn't voted yet, they can send people out or call them to remind them, hey, you haven't voted yet. Get on the horn. We got to win. And that's the ground game that the Democrats are really, really good at.
Absolutely.
And we got to get good at it. We
got to get gooder.
Republicans have to get gooder at it.
Like our English.
I don't think gooder is a word.
We got to get gooder. You said it first. I just went ahead and helped you out.
No, you said it first.
No, you said it first.
Johnny, who said it first?
Hey, look at that. Hey, they say that early voting actually starts tomorrow.
Oh, really?
October 16th.
What's today?
Today's the 15th.
Today's the 15th.
Oh, man. I have my days mixed up.
What you were really going to early vote.
I was super excited to go vote today.
You were going to early vote before early voting started.
Johnny.
That's how pumped up you are.
Yeah.
You know, we can just go camp out, so we'll be ready for tomorrow.
Yeah,
Hey, we
can
could.
do that.
Yep. All right, very good. Well, then I guess we won't be doing that. However, you know...
Johnny, thank you for that.
Well, I just didn't want to see anybody.
Joan and I would be texting each other.
Hey, it doesn't look like this place is open yet.
Yeah.
They chased me out of the school. What's wrong?
All these damn kids here, they can't vote.
Oh,
All right, moving right along. Hey, have you guys, did you see what happened with Bill Clinton?
Yes.
Sure did.
Oh, that was good.
Oh, Johnny does a great Bill Clinton. Johnny, though, the one problem with your Bill Clinton is you actually sound too well.
Yes.
Because Bill Clinton sounds terrible.
you had a case in Georgia not very long ago, didn't you? They made an ad about a young woman who'd been killed by an immigrant. Yeah, well, if they'd all been properly vetted, that probably wouldn't have happened.
Huh.
But if they're all properly vetted, and that doesn't happen.
So, number one, he's actually right, but he's accidentally throwing Kamala Harris under the bus.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Or he's doing it on purpose. I have this conspiracy theory. You guys tell me if I'm cray-cray. So I think the Democrats secretly don't want Kamala Harris to win because she will be a complete and epic failure. And so the Democrat Party may not be able to recover from 4 years of Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. So I wonder, are they doing this on purpose?
Well,
I'll get into the details of the Clinton thing, but I want you to think about this. I mean, Joan, you worked in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Does it make any sense whatsoever for Barack Obama to fly around the country castigating black men and calling them, sexist and misogynist for not voting for Kamala Harris? How does that make any sense whatsoever? It's almost like they're trying to lose. Then you've got Bill Clinton. He does this thing And he's trying to frame this as, oh, look what Donald Trump did. Because he stopped the bipartisan immigration border security bill, then this guy got into our country and killed that woman in Georgia. But he's got the story all screwed up. And so when he said what he said, I just played you the audio, the timeline doesn't work. The guy that killed Laken Riley, he came in this country in 2022. They stopped him, and then they just let him come in.
Yeah.
And that was before the Senate bill was even written or submitted. So Clinton's got it all wrong. I mean, he would have it wrong anyway even if the Senate border bill had come in like 2021. He would still be right, because Kamala Harris, it's her open border that has led us to this moment, regardless as whether or not there is a Senate bill or not.
And he said it wouldn't happen if he was vetted.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
And there's no vetting.
There's no vetting happening.
There's no vetting whatsoever. And that's what we've been saying for 4 years. I can't wait to vote tomorrow.
One thing that I would say, the flaw in your thinking about, if there is a flaw, because Dan, you're flawless and you brought your trophy to prove it today. One thing that I would say about Kamala Harris winning,
yes,
is that, as it is right now, we know that Joe Biden is not running the government. He's not capable of doing so. So there's persons behind the scene who are doing it. Well, I don't think that those people or persons behind the scene would give up their power now just because Kamala Harris wins. So they're prepared to take on the roles that they're currently doing after the election. They'd be perfectly happy to continue running the shadow government.
Yeah, but I don't think Kamala Harris would accept that. She's a lot less feeble than Joe. All right, can I be honest?
Yeah.
I think I'm out over my skis on this. But nothing they're doing makes sense.
Yeah.
Like Obama yelling at black men for not voting for Kamala Harris is bizarre.
And
That is just bizarre.
And Joe Biden upstaging the things that Kamala Harris is doing by holding press conferences when she's supposed to be the star.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Kamala Harris was out there, throwing down with Ron DeSantis and saying DeSantis won't accept my phone calls. And then Biden comes out and says, oh, yeah, Ron and I are doing great. We're trading text messages. Totally throwing her under the bus.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, those things don't make any sense either.
Right.
Not at all. This
Johnny?
This would not happen in a normal course of elections.
It wouldn't. Johnny, so I realize I'm out over my skis on the whole, do they really actually want Kamala to lose? But they're really not helping her win. That is obvious.
Oh, not at all, especially when you send Tim Walz out to pheasant hunt.
I'm hunting wabbits. Can I just say this?
And I can't whoop my gun.
Can I just say this? I didn't realize how closely Tim Walz resembled Elmer Fudd until the internet memes where they're side by side.
Yes.
It is uncanny. Although I will say that I think Elmer Fudd is probably smarter. But anyway, 5:15, time to check the roads on WTN.
Yeah, it's a crash in Nashville this morning. It's Ewing Drive at Vista Lane. Then on 24 in the westbound lane. So as you're heading in, and it's going to mess up your work flow this morning, an accident. It blocks the right shoulder, and it's attracting a lot of attention. It's right at Briley Parkway, south exit 54. Be careful. Traffic every 10 minutes, every morning. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. As far as your weather goes, mostly cloudy today and a high of 61 degrees. At Super Talk 99.7. I've been inside all day, so I don't know how cold it is outside. Johnny, do you have a temperature for me?
It's 44 degrees.
Is it 44 degrees?
I know I don't sound like Johnny, but
no, that's all right. 44 degrees.
Yep.
Very good.
Yep.
All right, so real quick, because I kind of walked all over where I was trying to go with that segment. So Bill Clinton, out on the campaign trail, says this about the murder of Laken Riley.
You had a case in Georgia not very long ago, didn't you? They made an ad about a young woman who'd been killed by an immigrant. Yeah, well, if they'd all been properly vetted, that probably wouldn't have happened. But if they're all properly vetted, and that doesn't happen,
I mean, he said it twice, as a matter of fact. Oh, so sweet, Johnny. Thank you. Johnny, Jesus. Johnny brought in my trophy.
Oh, good.
Hey, Johnny, I just called you Joni.
Oh, did
That's
you?
what I'm gonna. Whenever I'm talking to you and Joan, I'm just gonna call you guys Joni.
We're the combination of,
Johnny and Joan,
and we
go.
become one person.
and you become one person.
Yeah.
You're like right in there. So that's what,
Malinoff will be Chachi.
that's exactly right. And moving right along. So I'll go ahead and show my trophy at 5:35. We'll do show and tell at 5:35.
Well, it is.
We'll do
Take
show
your
and tell.
Marconi to work day.
It is yeah, there you go. But listen, if I'm gonna show something for show and tell, you guys got to bring something too. Like Johnny, you need to bring, and Joan, you need to bring something for show and tell for 5:35. It's got to be something
Today? Now?
right now, like at 5:35. You have to have something personal, something on your person to show the folks on Super Talk TV. If I've got to show my Marconi because this is against my better judgment, you guys have to show something too.
Okay. You're on.
It can be your wallet. We can look inside,
You can see
your purse.
What money we don't have.
Joan,
Yeah.
we can, yeah. What's inside Joan's purse? Oh, my goodness.
Hey.
Can we do that, Joan?
Yeah, we
Will
can
you
do
let
that.
us do you have a
That'd be
purse?
fun. Yeah, I do.
Should we do that? That'd be kind of funny, actually.
I would.
We can look inside my wallet. You want to look inside my wallet at 5:35?
Oh, sure.
I guarantee there's no money in there.
Yeah, no money in mine either.
I think this is setting us up for a really dumb bit at 5:35.
Well, that'd be worth watching and hearing.
Hey,
There
welcome
you
to
go.
the Dan Mandis Show. Dumb bits. That was my best radio voice impression.
I loved it. That was
Dumb
good.
bits.
Like that?
Dumb bits with Dumb bits with Nashville's morning news. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, there you go. This thing is heavy. Can you
Boy,
guys
it
hear
is
that?
heavy.
Yeah.
Dude,
You know what I'm afraid of?
Saw that
that's a
website.
real award.
I'm afraid that the entire desk is going to collapse in here. Because it's like 50 years old
Yes.
in here.
Yes,
so
it is.
I don't have time to do my thing now.
Sounds like a personal problem.
It does.
Listen to you two.
Do we
All
need
right.
to play more commercials? Or?
No, we're not going to play more commercials.
okay. All
All right, let's focus on the one thing that Bill said. Because he said a lot of things. And I'll go through the timeline a little bit later. But Jose Ibarra, the guy that killed Laken Riley, they stopped him and they didn't do any vetting at all. And if they'd done some vetting, the dude had some stuff in his past that should have, raised some alarm bells or rung some alarm bells or raised some red flags or whatever the heck it is. But they didn't. They didn't do the vetting. And basically what Biden does, and certainly in 2022, is catch and release. And so Bill Clinton is right. And so now you've got all of these folks. Fox News actually opened up with that story because what he was trying to do was throw Donald Trump under the bus. But again, the timeline simply does not work. He had a lot of other things to say, by the way, Bill Clinton did. He also apparently, and I don't know if you guys saw this, but apparently he started shaking. Did you see the video of this, Joan, or just the audio where he started sort of shaking? Bill Clinton. Well, he started shaking. Apparently, Joan is speechless, and that's fine.
Oh, no, I'm working. I know that's difficult.
No, that's okay. You can go ahead and you can work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can work. Laken Riley was killed in February of this year, 2024. The bipartisan Senate immigration bill that the left always talks about all the time, that didn't actually come around until this year, and it failed in May. The guy that killed Laken Riley, allegedly, came through the wide open border, and then it was paroled and released. That happened in 2022, after Joe Biden opened up the border wall with all of those executive orders, but well before Joe Biden and the Senate got to work on the Senate bill. So Jose Ibarra, he got in here at a time when there were zero restrictions. One other point, by the way, is let's not forget the House did have a bill, H.R. 2, that did pass the House, would have been far better for border security, and the Democrats in the Senate refused to take it up. Chuck Schumer simply wouldn't even allow it to be debated. I don't even think he didn't send it to the to committee. I mean, he didn't send it anywhere. It literally just rotted, and that is clearly a big problem for America. And so we're going to keep seeing more and more of these problems. Hopefully, the problem that the mistake that Bill Clinton made will bring people a little bit more awareness as to the problems that we have with our southern border. It is 5:21 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Joan, what's coming up?
Well, coming up, Dan will tell you about what's happening in the news this morning. Of course, it means that I don't have my screen up right here, right now. Here we go. Get on out and vote starting tomorrow, Tennessee, because early voting is just about to begin. We'll also tell you why a judge just shut down a TVA gas line project. Those stories coming up at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Hey everybody, Dan Mandis with Nashville's Morning News and Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I was speaking to Dr. Christopher Van Shank the other day at a station event. Now, he's a psychiatrist, and he was telling me about the mental health crisis here in America. And as you know, it's out of control. The COVID lockdowns were an absolute disaster. And Dr. Van Shank, again, he's a psychiatrist. And if you're one of those people, you feel like maybe you need to talk to somebody, I would recommend Dr. Christopher Van Shank. He can help you with addictions, depression, anxiety. He can also help kids with the same thing. He's been doing this for 15 years. He's been helping people, and he is here for you today. So if you want to check out his website is nolensvillepsychiatry.com. That's nolensvillepsychiatry.com. There's a whole list of issues that he can help you with. So check him out. If you feel like he can help you, give him a call. The number is below, and good luck. 7422 says this on the super text line. Brian Wilson yesterday said they were going to be goodie bags for the VP attendees at the election party in Wilson County. You hear about this, Johnny? I didn't.
I didn't hear about this either.
Some suggestions or queries, because you go to like little kid birthday parties and they give you a bag to leave.
Yeah.
So some suggestions apparently were Mandis bobblehead dolls, bobblehead things.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Or miniature Marconi awards.
See, that would be really cool if we had miniature Marconi awards made.
It could, because can I just be honest with you? The thing's like way too big.
And there's a point at the top of that thing.
Yeah, that could be
do some harm.
That could be a weapon.
Yeah.
It could be a weapon. Well, when I told you when I was, walking outside of the thing in New York, I had every intention of using it as a weapon if I needed to, if I got attacked by like a migrant.
Yeah.
Or something.
It would work, be effective.
Yeah.
All right. News with Joan Jones is coming up next. By the way, we are going to, Joan.
Yeah.
I actually told Johnny that I didn't really mean that you guys had to do show and tell. I'll go ahead. Johnny was like, no, I want to do it. Johnny's really fired up about show and tell.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's fun.
It's Show and Tell Tuesday.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're going to do.
And it's also take your Marconi to work day.
So if you want to partake in Show and Tell Tuesday, you've got to check us out on YouTube or Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, 997WTN.com, and watch us on the Super Talk TV. 529, Dan Mandis here, and I got to tell you, I love Xfinity for a lot of different reasons. Now, first of all, of course, we've been back to school for a few weeks now. Every day, I thank the Lord for Xfinity Internet. Now, in my house, we can stay connected with Wi-Fi coverage that delivers the speed we need, and you can too. Now, homework and radio shows, they don't wait for the Internet to work. You need a reliable connection even when everyone is online and working. As far as me, I rely on Xfinity, and I have for years. And by the way, if you do end up with some issues, Xfinity has 24/7 customer service here for whenever you need it with in-home Wi-Fi support. And if you're on the go, you can stay connected with over 20 million secure Xfinity Wi-Fi hotspots nationwide. So get the best Wi-Fi for your life, whether it's doing homework with the kids or work for the paycheck. Rock-solid internet is only a phone call away with Xfinity. So call them. Tell them Dan told you to reach out. 1-800-XFINITY. 1-800-XFINITY. Online at Xfinity.com or drop into an Xfinity store today for more details.
Good morning. It is now 5:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Really chilly this morning. We're at 44, and our high temp today only going to 61. Stick around. We've got your forecast coming up. Well, tomorrow marks the first day the Tennesseans can go out and vote early in the presidential election. Just a reminder here to bring along your state-issued ID. Tennessee is one of 6 states that does require an ID to vote. Well, the Pentagon is busy implementing a plan announced yesterday to send 100 U.S. troops and an advanced anti-missile system to Israel. That move ahead of Israel's expected retaliation against Iran.
Israel now in a multi-front war against Iranian proxies, expanding its incursion into southern Lebanon to root out Hezbollah while continuing its assault on Hamas in Gaza. And in northern Gaza, the IDF ordering about 400,000 people to evacuate. The UN calling the situation there dire. It comes as Israel unleashes another aerial assault, this time hitting a tent city near an embattled hospital.
That's ABC's Matt Gutman reporting from Tel Aviv. A new CDC report shows that 1 in 36 children in Tennessee, that's about 2.8%, were diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder in 2023. And that is an increase from the year before, and it reflects a similar trend nationwide. But the CDC says the uptick is not likely due to more cases, but better screening and reporting. Also, a court has ordered TVA to stop construction immediately on its Cumberland gas pipeline after environmental groups have asked a judge to review 2 water quality permits. Now, those groups say that the pipelines would cross water sources and any explosions through the rock would definitely cause damage. Market numbers report here brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Stock futures all pointing down just slightly this morning after some gains yesterday. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather are ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 5:33 on WTN. Listen, when it rains, you have the risk of getting moisture or water in your crawl space or your basement. That's why you need my friends at United Structural Systems, because that moisture could be an indication that you have waterproofing issues, and it also means that you need to call my friends at USS, United Structural Systems. Now, it could be a little problem about to get bigger, or it could be nothing at all. It could be something serious. The bottom line is you've got to call the experts in waterproofing, USS, United Structural Systems. So if you see water or moisture in your basement or your crawl space, this is the company to call, USS. Now, they've been keeping homes dry and stable for years, and that's why homeowners do trust USS. I'm a client of USS. I have been for years. We guarantee our best. Call USS at 615-488-7855, 615-488-7855, online at USSTN.com. Hey everybody, Dan Mandis with Nashville's Morning News and Super Talk 89.7 WTN. I was speaking to Dr. Christopher Van Shank the other day at a station event. Now, he's a psychiatrist, and he was telling me about the mental health crisis here in America. And as you know, it's out of control. The COVID lockdowns were an absolute disaster. And Dr. Van Shank, again, he's a psychiatrist. And if you're one of those people, you feel like maybe you need to talk to somebody, I would recommend Dr. Christopher Van Shank. He can help you with addictions, depression, anxiety. He can also help kids with the same thing. He's been doing this for 15 years. He's been helping people, and he is here for you today. So if you want to check out his website is nolensvillepsychiatry.com. That's nolensvillepsychiatry.com. There's a whole list of issues that he can help you with. So check him out. If you feel like he can help you, give him a call. The number is below, and good luck.
'Problems on 24 westbound this morning. There's a crash reported westbound at Shelby Avenue, exit 49. Also, a one-car crash blocking the right shoulder at Briley Parkway. That's exit 54. And then a crash involving some injuries in Nashville on Ewing Drive at Vista Lane. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
5:37, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. By the way, they've told me to read this once an hour.
Okay.
Our big event on election night,
oh, yeah.
which I really want people to come to that. Like, I really do. Be a VIP and enjoy all-inclusive food and beverages, VIP seating, and more when you join us. Dan, that's me, Chris, Matt, and Brian for a live coverage of the 2024 presidential election presented by U.S. Pest on November 5th at the Wilson County Fairgrounds inside the Made in Tennessee building. VIP tickets are on sale now at 997WTN.com. So the thing is free.
Yeah.
But you get VIP tickets and you get special stuff.
It's kind of like a meet and greet package at a concert. You get the special
I guess,
treatment.
although, you know what? I mean, we kind of just wander around. That's why I love our events, because I just wander around and get to meet all kinds of folks and get to talk to people, and it's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. That way you meet everybody there that way. In fact, my wife likes to, she smokes cigarettes every now and then, so she'll go outside for a cigarette. You might meet her out there.
Do you know what the most embarrassing thing is for me, like ever? And that says a lot because I do a lot of embarrassing things.
Yeah.
When I meet somebody and then I go and make the rounds and then I come up and I introduce myself again to the same person.
You do not do that.
I've done that. Joan, I've done it. Some of those people are probably listening right now. Just so you know that when I do that, I do shame spiral. Yeah, Dan, we met like 10 minutes ago. It's great to meet you again. Super. All right, let's do Show and Tell Tuesday.
Okay.
If I drop this thing, I'm going to be upset. This is my Marconi. Johnny, can you see that on the camera?
Oh, yeah, moving a little over towards you. There you go. Perfect.
Right. Yeah.
So... yeah, you could go hunting with this tip here.
Yeah, you could.
But you'll see it says Dan Mandis.
Well, you got to lift it up a little bit so they can see. There you go.
There you go. So this thing is really heavy.
Yes,
and it's got Marconi right there in the...
It has an engraved picture of Mr. Marconi.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like a coin inside.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, it's large and it's heavy. Kind of like, I like my women. Just
Oh, my gosh. Truly tasteless on your part.
What?
Seriously, Dan. If it made Johnny laugh that hard, you know that it was truly tasteless.
Like all my humors. I only like tasteless humor.
Yes.
Moving right along.
She knows me well.
Wow.
That was a joke. What is it? Can we not have fun anymore, Joan? You know what, Joan's like the school marm. Calling me out for my tasteless jokes.
Marm.
You haven't heard that term in a while. School marm.
Oh, 25-28. Mandis, you're in the doghouse tonight.
Oh, yeah.
You are definitely in the doghouse.
So, Joan, what do you have for show and tell?
Okay, I'll show you. Here's my, can you see it? It's my Dooney and Bork handbag.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. All right. Very good.
Yeah. And
How much that run you?
it was a gift from my husband. I don't know.
Oh, why don't you ask
Spare
him?
glasses.
Okay.
Because I really just wear readers, and I lose them all over the place.
Yes.
A pencil.
All right.
All right.
Cough drops.
Okay.
You know,
This is
gotta
now,
have
by the
those.
way, now we're playing What's in Joan's Purse.
Yeah.
And
I have an apple because I didn't know where to put it, so I just threw it in my purse.
Well, there you go.
An apple?
An apple.
It's a good place to put it.
My breakfast.
All right. Can I ask a question?
Okay.
So, if you find an apple in your car and you know it's been sitting there for a couple of days, is it safe to eat it? I'm asking for a friend.
As long as you wash it off and there's no cuts in it. Because
Okay.
you don't know what cut it, you know?
All right. Very good.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
So you're going to go fetch it from your car and bring it in to eat it today?
No, I'm going to let it stew for another couple of days. Then I'll eat it.
Okay.
Now, see, Joan could have done like Victoria Jackson, because anytime she's been on the station here, I was sitting by her at one time, and she was looking for something in her purse, and the next thing I see, she just dumps it. Everything goes out on the ground, and I said, what in the world are you doing? She goes, this is the best way I can do this.
Just dump it all on the ground.
And it worked. I mean, I got to give her credit.
I don't carry a lot. I carry my hairspray
Yeah.
Hey.
because, you know, you don't want to have the flyaways.
No, you know what, Johnny, if you ever need Joan's hairspray, why don't you go ahead and...
Yeah, I can borrow it.
Yeah, go ahead and borrow that
and
stuff.
I have $40. I never carry cash.
She's got $40.
I've got $40. I never carry cash, but I went to the store the other day and I hit the button when it says, do you want cash back or whatever. So I said, yeah, I never have cash. And then I put it in my purse and I forget that I have it because I never use cash.
First world problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's inflation for you.
Joan just, sounded kind of like an elitist there, didn't she, Johnny?
Not.
A little bit, yeah.
No, it's just that
She's calling my joke tasteless, and she's got $40 in her purse, and she's like poor shaming the rest of us.
And she wanted cash back.
Listen, Joan, me and Johnny will take a 20 each.
Yeah.
No problem.
Is that right?
Yeah.
All right, Johnny, go. What do you got?
Well, one, I've got two things to show you. This one was, this is for Chris Hand.
Yes.
I love Chris Hand. Great guy. He's a brother. And there is no bigger Donald Trump fan than Chris Hand.
Well,
Can we
that's
all
true.
be? That's true.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a Donald Trump coin. I'll show it to the audience. One side here you got the eagle.
Yes.
And it says Donald Trump, Commander in Chief, and then the other side you have Donald Trump himself. It's great. It's fantastic. There's none other like it.
Okay.
And it says "Keep America Great." 2020.
So where'd you get that?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I think my wife may have got it for her father. And
somebody gave us some of those coins at one of our events.
Oh,
I've
did
got
they?
one of those at home. Yeah.
Ah.
And now this is actually a wallet that used to be my father's.
Oh, wow.
It's very old, and it's from the Hap Peoples Agency. They were a big country music promoter back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And it was given to him by Hap Peoples. And I still have it. And I actually wore this at my wedding. So my father in some way could be there. And my wife had a bracelet on that was my mother's.
Aw.
So
that's
very
your
nice.
something
So they both
old.
were kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, something old was her new husband. But
That's what Amy
and
said.
borrowed
That's
too.
good.
Borrowed in blue. I mean,
There
I was
you
all,
go.
I covered all three.
And do you have like mementos of your parents, right? So I have my dad's old trumpet because he played the trumpet. Well, he liked to think that he could play the trumpet, but it just sounded like hyenas mating to me. But he would play the trumpet. So I've got my dad's trumpet, and I've got his little jewelry box, and I've got the flag that was over his coffin when he was buried because he was a veteran.
Wow.
So those are the little mementos that I have from my dad. Joan, you got anything? Are your parents?
My father has passed.
Okay. You have any mementos from dad?
My dad always smoked a pipe. And he always smoked a corncob pipe. We always thought that was very funny, but he liked those. And so we all have, I've actually given it to my daughter but I have a pipe that still has he smoked cherry vanilla. And so every time I smell, some cherry vanilla tobacco, it reminds me of my dad. So I have that. And my mom gave me a ring that was her grandmother's ring. So it's a platinum diamond ring.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful, like that old style of, the setting. It's just gorgeous. And I don't have it on now because they made me take everything off when I had my surgery on my hand, and now I can't get anything back on.
Yes, I
So,
understand.
Yeah, but I do have those mementos from my parents. Yeah.
That's neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? And I've got maybe at 8:35, I'll show folks my keychain. Because on my keychain, I have, because when my mom passed, this isn't morbid, I hope. I mean, this is all remembering the people that we love.
Right.
Yeah.
So when my mom passed, I got a few little mementos from her apartment that she lived in for 17, how long did she live there? About 12, 13 years. She lived in this apartment. Remember I used to tell you, Johnny, about how my mom loved Werther's?
Yes.
So when we cleaned out her apartment, when I had to go to L.A. and clean out her apartment, there were like Werther's everywhere.
That's funny.
It was like, we're like behind the toilet.
Wow.
And it's like, why does she have Werther's? It's like if she is in the bathroom or in the bathtub, she's got Werther's right there if she needs them. It was the weirdest thing.
That's funny.
Boy, it's so, when you find out so much about your parents after they pass, because when we went through my father's house, I couldn't believe, but we found family albums of photos. A lot of them had water damage.
Yeah.
He didn't really take really good care of those. But in another closet, there was every Playboy that ever was published. They were in pristine condition.
Of course they were.
Wow.
And well, we see where his priorities were. And what really made me even sicker to my stomach was when I came back to the house, and it was hitting me, we can sell those Playboys because he had the very first one.
Oh, my goodness.
And it was in pristine condition, the one that had Marilyn Monroe as the centerfold.
Wow.
And I get to the house, and I ask my sisters, where were the Playboys? And they said, oh, we had somebody haul those off.
Oh, my God.
And I said, what were you guys thinking? They said, well, what's your problem? Your wife's not going to want that around the house. I said, of course not. We could have sold them.
Oh, my Lord.
That's incredible.
Can I ask, though, like, how do you say this? So, pristine condition?
Yes.
Like, I'm just going to say this. I had some Playboys when I was a kid, and pristine condition they were not in.
No, most people's weren't, but his were. He even had Playboy videos that hadn't even been opened.
So he was clearly like a collector of Playboys. Like he would. It's
He
like
was a
some
collector
people
of
with
women.
baseball.
Well, there's that.
Dad's biggest, he didn't have any. There were two things he was addicted to: work and women.
There you go. One is good, and one sometimes things just don't work out real well.
No,
All right, very good.
Yeah.
It is 5:50. Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. By the way, coming up, we're going to do more on what Bill Clinton did to throw Kamala Harris under the bus. That story for you and a whole lot more straight ahead right now, though. Joan Jones, what's coming up at 6?
We'll tell you, Dan, that there has been a man arrested and charged for threatening FEMA workers on the ground in North Carolina. Also, what some patients who had a procedure done at Vanderbilt say they were told about the procedure afterwards. This is terrifying. Those stories coming up at 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you very much, Joan. 5:50, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm in the middle of a great backyard makeover, and I know the value of updating and upgrading my backyard. Moon Valley Nurseries can help you if you've been thinking about it, too. Now, think about what you would want in your perfect backyard. Then check them out online at moonvalleynurseries.com. Now, you can actually add a ton of livable space to your home when you update and upgrade your backyard, not to mention increase the value of your home. Now, if you're not quite sure what you need, but you know that you need something, get a free design consultation from Moon Valley Nurseries. You can prepare for any backyard event, big or small. They can help you by creating the perfect setting for anything, big or small. So find them online. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. moonvalleynurseries.com. That's moonvalleynurseries.com. 5:57, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Did you guys see what happened at Trump's town hall last night in Pennsylvania?
With the fainters?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's my conspiracy theory. Is that they intentionally fainted. In other words, it was like a ruse to interrupt Donald Trump's Pennsylvania town hall. People are talking about that. That's not just some crazy conspiracy-minded talk show host. People are saying, I wonder if, because Trump, look at how they're framing this online. They're framing this online like Donald Trump was just standing, roaming around the stage, wandering around the stage, and music was playing, including YMCA by the Village People. And so they're not putting it in the proper context. The media is not putting it in the proper context, which is people fainted and Trump didn't want to do his thing while there were medical things going on. So he just played music.
ABC News is actually making fun of him because he was naming the songs that he wanted to play.
Yeah.
So they were saying that he was happy being either speaking at this event or being a DJ.
Well, we know that ABC News sucks.
Yes.
So there is that.
And they're also making, a big deal out of him saying when it was all over, he said, hey, anybody else want to faint? And of course,
He said that?
Yeah, he said, I'll get the audio for you. It's all over ABC this morning. So they want to say, they're making fun of him because they say he wanted somebody else to faint. But this is just like...
He was having fun.
He was having fun.
They were out there playing music and, whatever. So, no. And
I'll get you the audio. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, people are trying to frame this like, people in Pennsylvania stunned.
Yes.
Speechless. Trump just randomly and for no reason at all just started playing music from the stage.
It's incredible. They won't stop.
No, they won't. That's why Trump ought to go after them with the military once he is reelected. At least that's what James Carville says. All right. Lot going on. Got a lot more straight ahead. Nashville's Morning News. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning to you. It is now 6 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We're looking at 44 degrees right now. Pretty chilly this morning. You may want to grab the jacket. We've got the forecast for you coming up in just a moment. A man has been arrested and charged for threatening FEMA workers on the ground near Asheville, North Carolina. Pete Gaynor is a former FEMA administrator and former acting secretary of DHS under Donald Trump.
We have the best mission in the federal government, helping people before, during, and after disaster. I think we have some of the most dedicated employees that are trying to do that for their fellow Americans. And stuff like this, it's not good for morale for anyone on the team.
The man who was arrested was charged with a misdemeanor crime, and cleanup and recovery operations have now resumed in that area. Well, some patients who recently had an endoscopy procedure at Vanderbilt say they've been informed that the hospital made a mistake and possibly exposed them to hepatitis and HIV.
She started reading saying you may have been exposed to hepatitis A, B, and C, and HIV. And it was the solution they used.
Johnny Mozingo is his name. He tells Fox 17 that Vanderbilt called him 3 months after the procedure and didn't offer any information about what to do next. Now, he fears not just getting sick, but infecting his wife of 42 years. Vanderbilt says it has corrected the issue, but it would not tell Fox 17 how many patients were affected. Well, start your coupon cutting and menu planning for Thanksgiving now.
Some good news for the main course. Shoppers can expect to pay 16% less for turkeys this year compared to last year, though ham prices are up 5.2%. Side dishes are a bit more expensive this year. Sweet potatoes saw a 4% increase. Russet potatoes are at an all-time high, up 14%. For other produce, consider buying fresh. Canned green beans are up nearly 9%, and canned pumpkin prices jumped a whopping 30% compared to last year.
That's ABC's Trevor Alt reporting. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
From ABC News, Wall Street now. The bulls got the week off to a roaring start, sending the Dow Jones Industrial Average and the Standard & Poor's 500 to new record highs. The Dow added more than 200 points to finish above the 43,000 mark for the first time. Infotech stocks drove up the S&P by nearly 1.5%. The Nasdaq Composite rose 0.9 to approach a new record of its own. With pink slips about to go out to thousands of Boeing employees, the acting Secretary of Labor spent Monday talking with the company and the union that represents 33,000 striking machinists. Boeing has announced plans to trim its worldwide workforce by 10%. The nation's largest milk-producing state is suddenly dealing with an outbreak of avian flu in its dairy herds, a doubling in the span of a week. California and federal health officials say H5N1 poses little threat to humans, that it's safe to drink milk that has been pasteurized. What it all means for the nation's milk supply and dairy prices isn't clear. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
And that's the latest news. Traffic and weather still to come. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. It's a crash this morning in East Bank. That's westbound side of 24. It's at Shelby Avenue, exit 49. It's the westbound lanes that are backed up this morning because of that crash. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Information fueled, opinion driven. This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
we talk news.
6:06 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. Welcome on into your Tuesday, and it's a cold Tuesday at that. October 15th, and I got to tell you, there is a lot going on along with Johnny B, Joan Jones. I'm Dan, and Kamala Harris is in big trouble. So there's a lot to go over. I'm not going to bury you with a bunch of polls, but the numbers for yet another day not looking good for the vice president. Now, one of the things that I think is interesting, as we are now 3 weeks from Election Day. Tomorrow we start voting early. Fox News has now decided that they are going to do an interview with Kamala Harris. Now, here's a question, and somebody sent me a note on the Super Text line. Very active this morning, thank you, 615-737-9986. Why is Fox News doing this? Now, I will tell you that Fox News is doing this because they want viewers. And I guarantee you that people are going to watch this interview because Bret Baier, I believe, will challenge Kamala Harris. But they've agreed to pre-record it. Now, why would they agree to pre-record it? See, that's the thing. I want to know, what are the things that Fox News has agreed to? Because here's what we know about Kamala Harris. Then I'm going to move on. But here's what we know about Kamala Harris, is that she doesn't do very well in interviews. She clearly doesn't do very well in speaking to reporters. And CBS and 60 Minutes worked really hard to save that interview to make her look good. Obviously, Fox News is not going to do the same thing. At least I hope not. Like if Fox News agreed to something like, and they wouldn't do this, but if Fox News agreed to say, well, we'll make whatever edits you want if she'll come in and do the interview, but I don't think that they would agree to it. I don't think Bret Baier would do this. But the question is, how desperate is Kamala Harris to do this? Because not only is she going to sit down with Bret Baier at Fox News, apparently, but they're also talking to Joe Rogan. Shocker. I know, it's a shocker. Joe Rogan? Yeah. So I'm going to replay this audio from MSNBC analyst Mara Gay, who says young men are in a crisis and they need to go to therapy because some are just sitting around and listening to Joe Rogan and being converted to fascism.
You know, I think men are in crisis, actually, in this country. I think that plays out different ways. And not all men are in crisis, of course. And not all men are just at home listening to Joe Rogan, being angry or being recruited to fascism.
I mean, what a nasty thing to say. You know, I do, and Amy as well, my wife, we watch Joe Rogan. He's really good. And there's nothing about his podcast that is fascism. There's nothing about sexism, misogyny, none of that stuff. And so I don't know, you know, it's interesting because they talk about, gee, I wonder why Kamala Harris is losing younger men.
Some just need therapy, like we all do. I go to therapy, that's great. But I think we need to have a real conversation about that rather than allowing this kind of drift toward this faux masculinity that we see Donald Trump evincing.
Faux masculinity. You ever wonder if maybe you need some egghead college degree to understand what these people are talking about? Because I don't get it. I mean, this clip is a couple of days old, but it still perplexes me. But I do find it interesting that MSNBC, the official media arm of the Kamala Harris campaign, calling out Joe Rogan and saying that basically Joe Rogan's show leads men to drift into fascism. But when Kamala Harris needs help with younger men and votes, she goes to Joe Rogan. Now, I would love if Joe Rogan would take that clip and play that for Kamala Harris and say, what the hell is this? Why is your side of the aisle, why are Democrats saying that my show leads young men to fascism? I would love to see him do it. I listen to Joe Rogan. I support Donald Trump. And guess what? I'm not a fascist. Couple of other things real quick with Fox News. One of the headlines that I saw was, and this was yesterday, was that Harris was in talks or in negotiations with Fox News and Joe Rogan. Here's my question. What is there to debate about? Tuesday, 2 o'clock, Fox News, New York. Show up, we'll interview you. What is there to debate about? What is there to negotiate? There is nothing to negotiate. So there's a lot of conservatives out there that are actually worried because they think that Kamala Harris's interview with Brett Baier could actually help Kamala Harris. Now, I don't know if it will or not, but here's the thing. When it comes to the question, why is it that Harris and the Democrats are losing younger adult men? Well, they're the ones that created the term toxic masculinity. It's the left. The men are constantly being demonized by in America today, especially, by the way, as I said last night, white, straight Christian men. Let's also not forget that there are some on the left who just consider men to be predators. They'll demonize them at every turn. And there's also folks on the left who will always call Donald Trump supporters Nazis. And of course, that means that Donald Trump is Hitler, right? And a lot of those people, a lot of those deplorables are men. And you got this woman here who says that men are drifting towards fascism and need therapy. I don't know. Why is it that the Democrats are losing young men? Young male voters. I have no idea. But I don't believe that they need therapy. What they need to do is they need to vote. And here in Tennessee, remember, tomorrow begins early voting here in the volunteer state. But remember what Kamala Harris said about young adults a while back. Remember this?
What else do we know about this population, 18 through 24? They are stupid. That is why we put them in dormitories. And they have a resident assistant. They make really bad decisions.
I mean, honestly, I have no idea why young adults would veer away from Kamala Harris. Here's the other good news, is that for Joe Rogan and Brett Baier, Fox News, is that they will ask follow-up questions. They will ask her to clarify some things. They'll do all of that. And the more that Kamala Harris speaks, we've got another word salad today. The more that Kamala Harris speaks, the worse it gets. And by the way, she also came out with some policy proposals for black men. Because black men, they are fleeing Kamala Harris in droves. The question is it too little too late? Because we are 3 weeks from Election Day, and yesterday she comes up with some policy proposals to try to save the, I'm air quoting, the black vote. Details straight ahead. 6:15, time to check the roads on WTN. Thank you very much. As far as your weather for today, mostly cloudy and a high of 61. Appreciate you listening to Super Talk 99.7 WTN, where I have 47 degrees at Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So there's a lot going on in the world of politics today. Again, 3 weeks to Election Day. Playing some Kamala Harris audio. You know, you'll forgive me for being just a little cynical. As Kamala Harris finally comes out with her policy proposals that will help black men. So here's what it is. You ready? She's going to provide 1 million loans that are fully forgivable up to $20,000 for black entrepreneurs and others to start a business. Now, I'm just going to tell you right off the bat that for me, I don't like that. Anything that is just for a particular skin color, I believe that that's racist. I don't care if it's for black folks. I don't care if it's for white folks. I don't care if it's for Hispanics. I don't care. It should be opened up for everyone. Number 2, support education training and mentorship programs that lead to good paying jobs for black men, including pathways to become teachers. All right. Another one. Protect cryptocurrency investments so black men who make them know their money is safe. All right, whatever. Another one, launch a national health initiative focused on the illnesses that disproportionately impact black men. And another one, legalize recreational marijuana and create opportunities for black Americans to succeed in this new industry. Now, a few things. Number 1, 3 weeks before the election, she finally comes out with something. I would like to ask the question, and maybe Joe Rogan or Brent Baer will ask the question. You spent 4 years in the Senate. You spent basically 4 years in the vice president's office. Why didn't you talk about any of this earlier? Why didn't you do any of this earlier? I mean, inquiring minds, I would think, would want to know. Because I'm just a little cynical. That's number 1. Number 2, will this actually work? I don't think this is going to work. This is, at least to me, this is pandering to the nth degree. You want to give out 1 million loans for black men to start a business? I say that it should be for all Americans. You want to launch a national health initiative focused on the illnesses that disproportionately impact black men? Got a lot of reaction when I said this last night. I'm going to say it again this morning here on Nashville's Morning News. Might get awkward. But what really does impact black men? Disproportionately so. Homicide. Today, homicide is the leading cause of death among young black men. In about 80 to 90% of the cases, the black victim was killed by another black person. So how do you fix the crime problem by dealing with it the way that Kamala Harris has? Which is calling for defunding of the police and calling for people to bail out bad guys from places like the Minnesota Freedom Fund. But that's what she has done. She's called for, well, heck, she's called ICE. She called ICE the KKK. Remember that? So for Kamala Harris, I would submit that you want to help young black men, you fix the crime problem. You enable and support the police. You fund the police. You don't say bad things about law enforcement. That's number 1. You don't allow bad guys to get out of prison early. The soft on crime policies, they simply do not work. You need tough on crime policies because when somebody gets away with stealing $999 worth of stuff, then that emboldens the criminals. And then within a year or 2, they're killing each other. So you want to help young black males get tough on crime. That's number 1. Number 2, you want to help all Americans? How about getting fathers back in the home? So these kids have a loving and supportive father in the home that will give them a better future. don't make fathers feel like they don't matter. Many, many, many homes across America, many black homes across America have no father in the house. And that is a direct line to prison and gangs. That is a direct line to death by police officer because they don't know how to handle authority or deal with authority because there's no father in the house. So if she really wants to help young black males, what she needs to do is deal with the crime problem, deal with the fatherless household problem. That's what she needs to do. What else would help black men in the black community? School choice. They've got all of this support wrapped in with the teachers' unions. What they really need is to give these young men a good education. And the other thing I thought was funny, legalizing recreational marijuana. It's like that was kind of a head scratcher because as a district attorney way back when, you know how many black men she put in jail for marijuana? A lot. And I love what Vernon Jones had to say. Now, if you don't remember who Vernon Jones is, he is a former lawmaker, state rep out there in Georgia.
But as a black man, he did everything but address us. What he did, he berated black men. He rebuked black men.
I love this. He's talking about Barack Obama.
He even scolded black men, primarily because we will not fall in line and vote for Madam Lock-Up-Her Brother, Kamala Harris, because that's her record.
Did you hear what he calls her, Madam Lock-Up-Her Brother? I mean, that's funny.
As if black men are too stupid that we can't vote our self-interest, what's best for us, our pocketbook, our families. As if we've been immune to the past 3.5 years, as if we don't know that gas prices have been higher under Kamala Harris, food prices higher under Kamala Harris, interest rates on home mortgages higher under Kamala Harris, and runaway borders under Kamala Harris. But you know what? That's what the liberal white Democratic Party did. They dispatched Barack Obama out there to whip black men back on the plantation to vote Democrat. And you know, President Obama, he meant a lot to black people, but he didn't do anything for black people.
Yeah, so he's no fan of Kamala Harris, and it's really clear he's no fan of Barack Obama either. So the policy initiatives, I guess she released them yesterday, and there's a lot of people that are talking about this, and a lot of people are saying that it's way too little and way too late. By the way, Sonia says, how about doing something to strengthen the family unit and keep fathers in the home? And Sonia's absolutely right. That's part of what I was saying. Keep the fathers in the home. What can you do to have a two-parent household? That's what we need to do. Not only for black families, to be honest, but all families, generally speaking. Because I think that a nuclear family, a mom and a dad in a home, two loving parents, that is going to do wonders for society if we can somehow actually make that happen. There's not a lot of Bret Baier fans who listen to this radio station, or at least on the Super Text line. Bret Baier is a soy boy. I've heard, I've seen a couple of people write into the Super Text line, and 5650 says that the Bret Baier thing, it's going to be a hit piece on Donald Trump. We'll see. We'll have to wait and see what happens. So the Super Text line is 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. It is 624 on Nashville's Morning News. Joan Jones is here. Joan, what's coming up at 6:30?
Well, a couple of arrests last night in the TSU homecoming shooting over the weekend. Also, House Republicans are digging into how Homeland Security shells out money for illegal immigrants and disaster relief. Those stories coming up at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. 624. Lake lovers, listen up. Tennessee National, a highly anticipated lakefront resort, golf, and marina community, is having a fall sales event, releasing a limited number of lake lots to the public with upgrades and savings one day only on Saturday, October 26th. Friends, this is coming up. Now, speaking of some of those upgrades, listen to this. Lake Townhome upgrades, you've got outdoor living space upgrades, plus you're also going to get 2 years of free boat rentals, plus 2 years of free social membership. Home site and golf savings as well. You can get $10,000 off of golf membership, plus 50% off a brand new golf cart as well. These are great deals from Tennessee National. Now, the amenities are incredible. Private golf cart access to a new marina and resort, 10 miles of walking trails, 3.5 miles of shoreline, pickleball, pools, on-site coffee shop, and a whole lot more. Now, this is a community that's just over 20 minutes from Knoxville, Tennessee. Financing is available. Call right now to secure your private tour Saturday, October 26th. Tell them Dan told you to reach out. 865-408-9992. 865-408-9992. You can find them online, TennesseeNational.com. Hey everybody, Dan Mandis with Nashville's Morning News and Super Talk 89.7 WTN. I was speaking to Dr. Christopher Van Shank the other day at a station event. Now, he's a psychiatrist, and he was telling me about the mental health crisis here in America. And as you know, it's out of control. The COVID lockdowns were an absolute disaster. And Dr. Van Shank, again, he's a psychiatrist. And if you're one of those people, you feel like maybe you need to talk to somebody, I would recommend Dr. Christopher Van Shank. He can help you with addictions, depression, anxiety. He can also help kids with the same thing. He's been doing this for 15 years. He's been helping people, and he is here for you today. So if you want to check out his website is nolensvillepsychiatry.com. That's nolensvillepsychiatry.com. There's a whole list of issues that he can help you with. So check him out. If you feel like he can help you, give him a call. The number is below, and good luck.
Good morning. It is now 6:30, and I'm Joan Jones with the latest news. We're looking at 46 degrees now. Really not getting very warm today. It's only going to 61. The forecast is still to come. House Republicans want to know how Homeland Security prioritizes the money it gets from Congress amid an ongoing controversy over spending on illegal migrants and disaster relief. It sent a letter demanding answers from DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, warning that FEMA doesn't have stable funding for the hurricane season, while Republicans want to know if money intended for disaster relief is instead being diverted to housing and debit cards that help illegal immigrants get settled in the U.S. Election 2024, Vice Presidential candidate J.D. Vance traveling to the Twin Cities. He criticized his opponent, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Here's Stephen Portnoy.
In Minneapolis, J.D. Vance stood in the shadow of a police precinct that rioters burned, less than 3 miles from where George Floyd was killed. Vance told reporters as governor of the state, Tim Walz did, quote, absolutely nothing.
I cannot believe how much this governor abandoned his own people.
But at the time, then President Trump expressed support for Walz's handling of the protests, saying that he, quote, dominated. When he was asked about that, Vance said Trump was just being nice and polite.
Nashville police have arrested two 24-year-olds who were taking cover in a short-term rental home last night. The two are charged with shooting into the crowds as TSU students and families were celebrating homecoming Saturday. Channel 4's Steve Mailing.
We listened to the full video, and you can hear around 40 to 50 total shots throughout. Metro Police believe it was two groups firing at each other, with bystanders caught in the crossfire.
Marquez Davis and DeAnthony Brown are in jail this morning. One person died in that shooting and 9 others were injured. Market Numbers report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Stock futures all pointing down, but really not by much this morning. The Dow futures just down 24. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather still to come. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 6:33, Nashville's Morning News, friends. It is October. That means Halloween is just a couple of weeks away, and Busy Bee is celebrating by giving you some great deals on your HVAC and plumbing. Now, they are your Rude Pro partners, and yes, they are giving you 50% off a furnace inspection and 20% off any furnace repair work at the time of service. How about $300 off of an ultraviolet home treatment system installation? Now, remember the Beehive Club. I've been a Beehive member for years. Now, as a Beehive member, you'll receive 3 annual tune-ups, 1 cooling, 1 heating, and 1 plumbing. 10% discount on all repairs, priority front-of-the-line service, no overtime or holiday fees, and so much more for as little as $99. Now, again, I've been a Beehive member for over a decade. I've had them install new systems, fix an old one, maintain all my units as well. Outstanding customer service, and simply put, they do great work. Call them, tell them Dan told you to reach out. 615-775-7833. 615-775-7833. BusyBeeHVAC.com.
Problem this morning, Rural Hill. It's 24 westbound at Bell Road. That's the exit number 59. A crash is reported in that area. Pretty slow, too, on 840 northbound between Couchville Pike and Stewart's Ferry Pike. And there's some debris and pallets that are reportedly scattered in the roadway. Careful as you're driving in that area. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.638 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on in to your Tuesday, October 15th. Want to get right to the Newsmaker Hotline. Welcome on in. EJ Haas. DJ, always great to have you on. Of course, people know you are, among other things, our Tim Walz correspondent. You spent many years in Minnesota, living under the reign of the Walz administration, whether it was as a governor or as a congressman. But I don't want to start with Tim Walz yet. I want to actually play a piece of audio for you that I thought was interesting. I know that you have probably heard it already, but this is former President Bill Clinton throwing Kamala Harris under the bus, whether he realized he was doing it or not.
You had a case in Georgia not very long ago, didn't you? They made an ad about a young woman who'd been killed by an immigrant. Yeah, well, if they'd all been properly vetted, that probably wouldn't have happened. But if they're all properly vetted and that doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's interesting. He repeated it twice. Now, EJ, he thought that he was throwing Donald Trump under the bus, but when you look at the timeline, the culpability and responsibility for Laken Riley's death, other than the actual murderer, Jose Ibarra, is Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and the wide open border policies.
Isn't it nuts how obvious it is that you just get an old guy who is speaking off the cuff without a teleprompter and the truth comes out?
Yeah.
Right? It is so absolutely obvious, but this is what happens when you have to take old, washed up politicians and get them out on the campaign trail because your campaign is flailing.
Well, it is flailing, and I just, I have this theory, but it's completely wrong, but it seems like they've given up trying because you've got Bill Clinton who said what he said. And it's like, dude, you got to look at the timeline. You got to bring receipts. You've got to know what you're talking about. You can't just, blindly walk out there and start speaking into a microphone and not knowing what you're talking about if you're trying to, help Kamala Harris. Then you got Barack Obama. And I'm going to spare people the audio, but Barack Obama basically telling black men that if they don't vote for Kamala Harris, they're sexist. I mean, this is not a good way to win over people.
No, it's not. And it takes that joy factor that they wanted so badly during the DNC. Do you remember? They really wanted this to be the campaign of joy. Mm-hmm. But they're taking very angry tones now. And, insulting your voters is not the best way to win them over. Calling men, sexist or whatever. It doesn't work when they do it to Trump supporters. We move further and further away from them. Why they think it'll work with their own supporters is pretty odd.
But see, that's my question, though. It's almost like they've given up, or they don't want her to win. Aren't they smarter than this, EJ?
I think they were many years ago, right? I think they took for granted their own base, and they're angry with their base right now, and they're out of the political game. And so they haven't been doing these campaigns and public speaking things and rallying support for many, many years now. Even Barack Obama, it's been years. The only thing he does now is, give happy little speeches to, world globalist government types, right?
Yeah.
And kind of rally their support, which is a totally different game. And so I think they're just out of practice, and it will come back to bite them, just depending on how far and wide that message gets. I don't think it's getting as far as they want it to. Like in our circles, we're seeing it on our X feeds and things like that because we all think it's shocking. But if you are a young Black man, what are the chances you actually saw Barack Obama's speech or, his admonishing you? If you used to be a Clinton supporter, maybe you'll see it. But if you're a Kamala Harris supporter, you're probably getting more clips in your feed now, the way the algorithms work, about, the sex podcast interviews and those kinds of things. You're probably not getting this little 10-second clip of Bill Clinton in your feed.
All right, so we've found out in the last 24 hours that you've got Kamala Harris. She is now willing to go on Fox News with Bret Baier and also with Joe Rogan. Now, the Joe Rogan one, that actually, to be honest, that shocked me because,
me too.
Yeah, Joe Rogan, if that actually happens, and Donald Trump is going to go on with Joe Rogan as well. But I thought it was interesting because one of the headlines that I saw was that Kamala Harris was sort of in negotiations. And my question is, okay, so what's there to negotiate? Tuesday, 2 o'clock, you're there. But that's exactly right. Do you really think that Donald Trump is out there negotiating questions? No. That man and J.D. Vance, they can answer anything. Kamala Harris, on the other hand, they are trying to negotiate something. And I think that Fox News and certainly Joe Rogan, they shouldn't be negotiating anything.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. Bret Baier has come out pretty publicly all over X. He was all over it last night saying that only he has the questions, and they're taping it live. They'll run it live. It's only a half an hour that the campaign has given him. And then they've only got 30 minutes to edit it anyway. So they'll just make sure it fits within the time frame of the show. That makes sense to me. I don't think Bret Baier is going to ask anything different. I wish they would. I don't think he will ask anything different than has already been asked. You flip-flopped on fracking, and where do you stand on this, and blah, blah, blah. And she'll come out with her canned, middle-class kid answers again. And that's disappointing. What I'd love to see, and what I think is more likely on the Joe Rogan show, is going to be questions like, who formed your political philosophy? Your dad, has been described as a Marxist professor. What kind of influence does he have on your outlook on the world, right? Those are the kinds of questions that would actually give us insight into her as a candidate and as a person. I'd love to see them ask questions that are completely different that we haven't heard before, where a canned answer doesn't make any sense. I don't think Bret Baier will do it. I'm hopeful that Joe Rogan would.
But
remember, Joe Rogan he's not been a hardcore Trump supporter necessarily. He's not been anti-Kamala Harris. Remember, he was also kind of friendly to the Biden campaign when they were running. So let's be careful about thinking Joe Rogan is a slam dunk. I don't think it is.
Oh, I don't think it's a slam dunk at all. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that after we check the roads at 6:45 on WTN. Mostly cloudy today and a high of 61 degrees, 43 now at Super Talk 99.7 WTN. EJ Host is joining us, one of our political analysts. And EJ, one of the things that Joe Rogan did say about Kamala Harris, basically, he called her campaign brilliant a while ago. And the reason why he called her campaign brilliant was because she was leading in the polls and she wasn't doing anything. She wasn't going on any interviews. She was just up on stage and doing her thing. So he has actually been complimentary of Kamala Harris. But I also think that he has a way of asking a question that can be very disarming. And I think that Trump can roll with a Joe Rogan kind of interview far better and far easier than Kamala Harris. We'll have to see what happens. The last thing that Joe Rogan wants is to turn into a Howard Stern and a complete laydown. And I know that that's not what's going to happen if Kamala Harris does an interview on Joe Rogan's show. By the way, EJ, we haven't spoken in about a week or so, I think. What do you think of the Monday polling that shows that even more Donald Trump is gaining momentum and Kamala Harris is losing momentum? You and I have been talking about this for a couple of months now.
Yep. The wind is definitely in the Trump campaign sails, without question. That doesn't necessarily mean we have to sit back and just enjoy the ride. We still need to go ahead and row the boat, right? So the thing is, the campaign is doing well because Trump is doing well under pressure, right? So when he is interviewed, he injects humor. He is a real person. I think he's become a different person since his first assassination attempt, and he's just kind of enjoying this more, which is what we saw in 2016, and I like that. I also think J.D. Vance was such an excellent person to take all these questions. Of course, everybody's seen Martha Raddatz, the most recent example, but he's a great person to be the kind of serious spokesperson for the campaign. So you've got this great balance. What's happening on the Kamala Harris, Tim Walz side is that, both of them are kind of being exposed for their history, which hadn't been done early on. And both of them are being exposed for being unable to handle the pressure of tough questions, easy questions, for goodness sakes. They can't even handle those. And so the more they get out in the public, the less people trust them. They don't really inject humor in a way that's authentic. They don't speak to their crowds in a way that is kind of, uplifting. Gwen Walz tries, but, Kamala Harris yesterday got her big angry face on and, spewed all these lies about Donald Trump putting people in camps.
Yeah.
We're over that. Everyone's over that. We don't want to hear that anymore. We actually want to know what you're going to do about illegal immigration, legal immigration, jobs, not sending our boys to war. I mean, that issue alone, how about you just vote for the guy who isn't going to send our sons to war? It really is a simple campaign. Trump's campaign is keeping it simple, and Kamala Harris is flailing.
You are so right about keeping it as a simple campaign, and should be a simple campaign. You've got the record of Kamala Harris, and you've got the record of Donald Trump. You just compare the records, and it should just be that easy. All right, so we've got about 30 more seconds. EJ Host is joining us, and as we wrap up, I think this is what I ask you every single time. We got 3 weeks from today. What does Trump need to do? What does Kamala Harris need to do?
Pennsylvania for
Yep.
Trump.
Yep.
I don't think Kamala Harris really has a shot there, other than the fact that we have to overcome the cheating. And I will say it over and over and over again. Every single swing state has to win by more than the typical 2 to 3%. Like it's got to be a landslide.
It's got to be a
So
landslide.
I think more of the same for the Trump campaign. Just keep going. I think Kamala Harris really doesn't have much of a shot unless some sort of crazy October surprise comes out.
It just feels like her campaign is limping along. That's what it feels like. It's like Tim Walz, every time you turn around, there's some sort of a crazy story, some sort of an allegation, or just things that don't look good for the Harris campaign. And, of course, Kamala Harris, the more people see of Kamala Harris, the more that they don't like her. I mean, that's also part of the dynamic here is the more people see of her, the more momentum that she loses. And when you look at the numbers, Trump is up 4 and she's down 4. And so
Right.
I think that
to
Go.
everybody, while the Kamala Harris campaign puts everybody in boxes. They're only talking to men now. And then
That's
they
exactly
were only
right.
talking to women for a while. And Trump just talks to everybody.
All right, EJ, where can people find you on Twitter?
Yeah, go find me on X, EJ Under the Radar.
All right, very good. And we'll talk to you again soon. EJ Host on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And coming up, we've got the news at 7 o'clock with Joan Jones. And Joan, what's coming up?
I'll tell you about the curveball that was thrown Donald Trump's way at a town hall last night. Also, arrests are now made in the gang-related shooting after TSU's homecoming parade. Those stories at 7 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. 6:52 on WTN. Why do I love Brentwood Jewelry? Because they can help you with whatever jewelry needs you might have, from watches to rings and bracelets and necklaces and so much more. So no matter the reason or the season, Brentwood Jewelry can help you find the perfect gift no matter the budget. Now, they can also customize pieces for you as well. So if you're looking for the absolute perfect ring and you can't find it, well, they can actually build it for you at Brentwood Jewelry. They're also Nashville's premier timepiece dealer. You need to find a great watch at a reasonable price. Your answer is Brentwood Jewelry, and every watch does come with a 2-year warranty. So, as the holidays approach, think about Brentwood Jewelry. Shop in store or online, 7012 Church Street East in the heart of Brentwood, just off Franklin Road. Exceptional styles, exceptional deals every day for over 50 years. Online, BrentwoodJewelry.com.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Well, hello there. It's now 7 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Couple of trouble spots on the roads. 40 westbound at Stewart's Ferry Pike. There is a crash this morning, and the left lane has been blocked off. Also, there is a crash at the airport, 40 westbound Donaldson Pike. The left lane is blocked in that area as well. More to come in traffic and in weather in a couple of minutes. Former President Donald Trump visiting the swing state of Pennsylvania for the 11th time last night, but things didn't go as planned.
Trip to must-win Pennsylvania urged his supporters to turn out on Election Day.
We win Pennsylvania, we win the whole thing.
Yes. But then, 30 minutes in, two attendees suffered medical emergencies.
A doctor, please. Doctor.
The incidents shifted the mood, prompting Trump to cut the question short and instead...
How about this? We'll play YMCA and we'll go home.
Most of his supporters stayed for another 30 minutes.
That's ABC's Terry Moran reporting. 2 people have been arrested in connection with the gang-related shooting after the TSU homecoming parade on Saturday. 24-year-old Marquez Davis and 24-year-old DeAnthony Brown tracked down by police at a short-term rental along 28th Avenue North just a short while ago. Both have been in trouble with the law in the past. Now, they're both charged with murder. 1 person was killed in that shooting. 9 others were injured. A woman is dead after being shot at a popular park in Antioch. Witnesses tell police that a man was actually seen on top of that woman when the shooting happened last night at Mill Creek Greenway, a spot where a lot of people go to walk the trails.
It's kind of surprising that this happened because a lot of people in the community do walk these trails. And I had a sense of security and safety, and now, I'm thinking twice about it. But on the side that this happened, I would never think that this would happen because it's such a big open area, and it seems like more people walk on that side.
That woman telling Channel 4 the suspect drove off in a dark-colored 4-door car. Nashville police want to gain access to security video from local businesses to help solve crimes. Channel 4's Brandon Tierney says a system upgrade would allow police to watch private business cameras as well as all of the public cameras.
The Community Safety Center opened at police headquarters earlier this year. Officers there are able to monitor public cameras to see what's happening in an area a crime has been reported. A new $500,000 contract with the software company Fuses could expand that access to up to 1,200 private camera feeds already in place across the county.
And now police would only get access to cameras once they have been registered with the system. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management online at beaconcm.com. Stock futures are mixed right now. Dow futures are up 14, but the NASDAQ futures -9. S&P futures down just a fraction. That's the latest news. We've got traffic and weather just ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Some crashes now. 40 westbound crash is blocking off the left lane, the second left lane. It's at 40 westbound, exit 219. Also a crash in Hendersonville. This one's on Vietnam Veterans Boulevard, westbound side before Gallatin Pike, exit 3. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Information fueled, opinion driven. This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
we talk news.
7:07, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. And here with Johnny B. and Joan Jones. I'm Dan Mandis. How are you? You can follow me on the socials at Dan Mandis Show. Follow me on X if you would. And if you want to watch us on Super Talk TV, you can. We're on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, 997WTN.com. And if you're just getting to work and you want to continue to listen to the radio program, all you got to do is take your phone and follow us and listen to us on one of our apps. There's so many ways to listen. Now, Kamala Harris. In the last segment here in the last hour, I was telling you about what she wants to do for black men. And I think that one of the things that's fascinating about that story is the reaction. Because on social media, people are going absolutely nuts about the fact that she's got all of these. I mean, basically, you got to call it for what it is. It's all race-based. And it's such a cynical move for Kamala Harris. 3 weeks before the election. Forget about the fact that she's been in politics for 20, 25, 30 years. None of that matters. She's going to do it right now, 3 weeks before, no matter how it looks. And shows she wants to provide $1 million, provide 1 million loans that are fully forgivable up to $20,000 for black entrepreneurs specifically. And all of this stuff, obviously, I mean, the headline is Kamala Harris will create an opportunity agenda for black men. What about white men? What about Hispanic men? What about, I don't know, Jewish men? What about white women? What about black women? You know what I mean? In other words, it's so obvious. It is such pandering. All in the news the last, 3, 4, 5 weeks has been about how Kamala Harris is losing the support of the black men. And so what does she do? Lo and behold, 3 weeks before it's time to vote. Early voting starting in many states this week, including ours tomorrow. She comes out with an opportunity agenda for black men. So social media, and then I'm going to move on. Social media, though, is going nuts on this. One post has a picture of Kamala Harris, but what it really is a beautiful mosaic of Kamala Harris, and it's made out of all of the black men she locked up and kept in prison past their release date for jail labor. Hashtag never forget. I'm going to go ahead and repost that if you want to see it. It is amazing. And a lot of people are saying, listen, what would happen if a white politician or any color politician came out and said that this is my specific plans for white Americans, not for black Americans, not for Hispanic Americans, not for all Americans, but only white Americans. Do you know their political career would be over? A lot of people are saying that online as well. So I don't believe this was a smart move by any stretch of the imagination. But again, you can see a lot of that reaction on my Twitter feed, my X feed at Dan Mandis Show. There's a number of other things that are going on this morning. We've been talking a lot about Bill Clinton and how he threw Kamala Harris right under the bus. And I want to do a bit more of a deep dive into Bill Clinton's appearance. We were speaking with E.J. Host. You know, one person said on the super text line who was actually really smart, where's the old guard Republicans coming out for Donald Trump? You know what my answer to that is? Donald Trump doesn't need them. Donald Trump does not need W. He just doesn't. He doesn't need Mitt Romney. He doesn't need he doesn't need Paul Ryan. There's a whole new wave. It is fascinating. You know, the Democrats, they've got all of these old Democrats. You've got, Bill Clinton. I don't know how old Bill Clinton is, but when you hear his voice in a couple of seconds, he's got to be in his 70s. But that's 150 in married to Hillary Clinton years, if you know what I'm talking about. This is what Bill Clinton sounds like as he's throwing Kamala Harris right under the bus.
You had a case in Georgia not very long ago, didn't you? They made an ad about a young woman who'd been killed by an immigrant. Yeah, well, if they'd all been properly vetted, that probably wouldn't have happened. But if they're all properly vetted, and that doesn't happen.
It's kind of funny that he said that line twice, and that is the most important line in that entire 20-minute campaign stop for Bill Clinton.
78 years old, by the way.
Is he 78?
Yes.
Does he look 78 or does he look in...
He looks 90.
Yes, Johnny,
and
he
sounds
does.
90.
He looks and he sounds 90. I think it's the Hillary Clinton factor. That's what I think it
I think
is.
you're right.
Kill me now.
You have a lamp thrown at you and see how old you feel.
All right. So he's talking about Jose Ibarra. Now, Jose Ibarra is the guy that killed Laken Riley. And what Clinton is trying to say is that it was Donald Trump that torpedoed any kind of vetting of this Jose Ibarra that killed Laken Riley. It wasn't Donald Trump. It was Kamala Harris. And so what this has done by mistake or, on purpose, I don't know which one, but they've opened up this whole conversation yet again. All you have to do is look at the timeline to realize how off Bill Clinton is. Because what he was trying to say, what Bill Clinton is trying to say, and maybe it's, from getting hit in the head by a lamp one too many times thrown by Hillary, maybe he just didn't quite get the timeline or understand the timeline, because what he is trying to do is say that because Donald Trump torpedoed or killed that Senate bipartisan immigration bill, that was torpedoed, so there was no actual vetting of Jose Ibarra. But here's the thing. He came into our country in 2022. That Senate bill didn't even come in until 2024. You know what happened in 2022? Our borders were completely wide open. Laken Riley was killed in February of this year, 2024. The bipartisan Senate immigration bill, that came up this year, and it died this year. The guy that allegedly killed Laken Riley came through the border in 2022. He was released into our country after Joe Biden opened up the border with all of those executive orders, but well before Biden and the Senate got to work on that Senate bill. And one other point is, let's also not forget that the House also had their own immigration bill, a far stronger immigration bill, H.R. 2. I've spoken about this incessantly. That would have far been better for border security. It would have allowed the vetting. This guy, Jose Ibarra, they stopped him. They didn't vet him. And if they did, it wasn't nearly good enough. They sent him along his merry way to ultimately kill Laken Riley. And so I do hope that Bill Clinton's complete shank of going out and campaigning for Kamala Harris, I really hope that this does bring up a far bigger conversation about the damage that the border issues, the wide open border of Kamala Harris has done to America, because we do have a lot of problems, and we're going to see a lot more, sadly, a lot more Laken Rileys. It is 7:15, time to check the roads on WTN. Mostly cloudy today and a high of 61, 48 now at Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Bill Clinton said a lot of other stupid things, by the way.
She's the only candidate who has actually endorsed a bill that would hold down immigration in any given year to a certain point, and then make sure we gave people a decent place to live. We didn't divide people from their children. And we did total vetting before people got in.
You know what's kind of weird? Is that, number one, he said that, they want to give people a decent place to stay. It is not the job of the American people or our government to give millions of illegal aliens a, quote, decent place to stay. That's not our job. You know how many Americans, you know how many veterans do not have a decent place to stay as the weather's getting cold? Millions across the country don't have a decent place to stay. These illegal aliens, these migrants, they're staying in amazing hotels. But memo to Bill Clinton, again, it's not our job, simply put. He was also talking about how Kamala Harris is the only candidate who supported a bipartisan bill on illegal immigration. Donald Trump supported the House immigration bill, H.R. 2, that I mentioned before, that would have truly kept our border safe, and Laken Riley would still be alive today. Here's more from Bill Clinton.
Trump killed the bill. The bill was being written by senior Republicans in the Senate, and he killed the bill. Why?
Why? Well, here's why. Because it basically endorsed Joe Biden's catch and release policy. It was that catch and release policy that led to the death of Laken Riley. So Bill Clinton says, why? Why did Donald Trump torpedo that bill? Had a lot of flaws. It didn't do nearly enough to physically secure the border. The funding of sanctuary cities and those NGOs, the non-governmental agencies that ultimately one of the things that they do, those NGOs, if you know anything about it, they facilitate all of this border and immigration chaos. And the bill, the Senate bill, also basically allowed the Biden administration or the government to allow all of these illegal aliens into our country until the Border Patrol encounters 4,000 illegals daily for 7 days. And it went on from there. And the other thing that it would do is it would require taxpayers to fund the deportation attorneys for kids under the age of 14 or those deemed incompetent. So there was a lot to hate with that bill. I don't need to, relitigate the whole thing because we certainly did when the topic of conversation was going. But for Bill Clinton, I mean, obviously they're pulling him either off the golf course or I just don't think he wants to be there. But the other thing that he said is he talks about, and the Democrats, they keep talking about this notion of kids being separated from their parents and how Donald Trump did that, right? Donald Trump separated kids from their parents. You want to talk about what's going on with the Biden administration, the Harris administration, regarding all of these kids that have been smuggled into this country and now they've completely disappeared? Hundreds of thousands have disappeared under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. They have no idea where they are. Under Donald Trump, most of those kids were reunited with their parents that were separated. But not in the case of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. We can't find them. They've been sex trafficked. Most of those kids that were separated from their families under Donald Trump, again, reconnected. You can't say that about Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and the kids that came in under their administration. I mean, we could talk about the kids in the cages all you want, and that was under Obama and Donald Trump. But number one, those policies changed very quickly under Donald Trump. It was temporary. Nobody wants to talk about the 250,000 kids that are either working in horrific conditions, slaughterhouses, 18 hours a day, missing, sex trafficked, and so on. New York Times did a whole big piece on that, and nobody on the left wants to talk about. Nobody in the media, by and large, wants to talk about it. New York Times, though, did. They did a whole big piece on that. So when you have somebody coming at you, when you have somebody talking about Donald Trump and the evils of Donald Trump and, oh, he separated children, that's the perfect comeback. Kamala Harris's and Joe Biden's policies led to hundreds of thousands, if not maybe over 1 million, who knows? We don't even know. But hundreds of thousands, at least, kids that have disappeared into the fabric of our society with sex trafficking and all kinds of other stuff. And so, I mean, that is, at least to me, the perfect comeback. It is 7:22 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986. Joan Jones has the news at 7:30. Joan, what's coming up?
Well, the horrifying phone call that some Vanderbilt clinic patients are getting months after being treated there. Also, Metro Nashville police make 2 arrests in the homecoming shooting over the weekend. Those stories coming up at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. So last week I went over to the Glock store. I had a lot of fun shooting at their Halloween shoot house. Now, what this is, it's basically a course where you're firing for 90 seconds and you see how well you do on this Halloween-themed course. It is a lot of fun. They've got smoke. They've got incredible delays. And yes, you can even win a gun. That's pretty cool. And that's what's happening at the Glock store. Now, you can do this in one of their massive rooms because, well, at the Glock store, they have massive rooms for training. You know, lane ranges, they are really limited. What the Glock store does is so unique because you can train in their massive rooms and also have fun with this Halloween-themed shooting contest. Now, I also got a chance to fire my next gun. I really do love the Glock 43X. Now, right now, I've got a Glock 19, but the Glock store, as usual, is my place to buy my guns and, yes, continue my training as well. So check out the Halloween Shoot House, maybe even win a new gun, and have a lot of fun as well. Check it out online. It is shoot270.com, shoot270.com. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spice and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
It doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
Hey everybody, Dan Mandis with Nashville's Morning News and Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I was speaking to Dr. Christopher Van Shank the other day at a station event. Now, he's a psychiatrist, and he was telling me about the mental health crisis here in America. And as you know, it's out of control. The COVID lockdowns were an absolute disaster. And Dr. Van Shank, again, he's a psychiatrist. And if you're one of those people, you feel like maybe you need to talk to somebody, I would recommend Dr. Christopher Van Shank. He can help you with addictions, depression, anxiety. He can also help kids with the same thing. He's been doing this for 15 years. He's been helping people, and he is here for you today. So if you want to check out his website is nolensvillepsychiatry.com. That's nolensvillepsychiatry.com. There's a whole list of issues that he can help you with. So check him out. If you feel like he can help you, give him a call. The number is below, and good luck.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
$7:29, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and news with Joe and Jones is coming up next. At about 7:36, there is a major update in Aurora, Colorado regarding the vicious Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. Details straight ahead. Dan Mandis here with a question for you, friends. If your roof was destroyed in a storm, how much of that replacement cost would your insurance company cover? Now, if you don't know, you really do need to ask, because some insurance companies refuse to pay full replacement cost. They're going to deduct money for an older roof, and this could leave you on the hook for thousands of dollars. Now, no surprises with my friends at King & Associates Insurance. They will pay full replacement cost. So whether you have to replace a 10-year-old roof or a 2-year-old roof, they will pay for it to be replaced, period. This is a great insurance company, and it is that kind of focus on customer service that does make King & Associates Insurance one of the best insurance companies around. Call them, tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. 615-329-8121. 615-329-8121. Get your royal review. tkinginsurance.com.
Good morning. It's now 7:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We're looking at 46 degrees right now. Not really a warm day. We'll get up to 61 degrees later on. Your forecast, and we'll have traffic, too, in just a couple of moments. Well, more patients are reporting that they may have been exposed to HIV and hepatitis after having a procedure at Vanderbilt Clinic. This woman, Miss Matthews, she wants to be called, tells Fox 17 that she got a phone call months after having an endoscopy in July.
I have a liver condition, so I knew that if I were to be tested positive for this, then it could be probably life-altering for me.
Vanderbilt says it was a problem with how a solution was administered through the scope. It says the issue has been corrected. 2 24-year-olds are under arrest and charged in the shooting that sent people running for their lives during TSU's homecoming celebration Saturday. Channel 4's Steve Mailing reports that the suspects were suspected gang members.
Community members say the people they saw involved were not a part of the TSU community out celebrating homecoming. Metro Police say there were 5 shooters with local gang affiliations who shot at each other. 4 out of the 5 have adult arrest histories.
Marquez Davis and DeAnthony Brown were tracked down to a short-term rental home on 24th Avenue North last night. Police say Davis had been on a probated sentence to the community care program after being convicted of felony crimes in April. One man's been arrested and charged for threatening FEMA workers on the ground near Asheville, North Carolina. Pete Gaynor is a former FEMA administrator and former acting secretary of DHS under Donald Trump.
We have the best mission in the federal government, helping people before, during, and after disaster. I think we have some of the most dedicated employees that are trying to do that for their fellow Americans. And stuff like this, it's not good for morale for anyone on the team.
The man who was arrested was charged with a misdemeanor crime, and cleanup and recovery operations have resumed. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather still to come. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 7:33 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Of course, Nashville's morning news is powered by Space Cowboy Coffee. Now, this is my new favorite coffee. I drink it every single morning. I must have had, doing red eye last night, I must have had about 4 or 5 cups of Space Cowboy coffee. I love it. It's got a great taste. They've got a lot of different blends and brews. And if you want to check it out, check out my favorite coffee these days. Go to this website, spacecowboycoffee.com. Use promo code Dan. You are going to get a discount at 10% off. And also, you order $50 or more, and you are going to get free shipping. Now, again, this is great coffee that I drink every single morning to get ready for the show. It is incredible, rich tasting. Right now, my favorite is their new espresso roast. Now, Space Cowboy Coffee is rapidly turning into Nashville's favorite. You know, they are based right here in Music City. I've been trying all their favorite brews, and indeed, yes, they are amazing. So check them out online. My new favorite coffee, spacecowboycoffee.com. That's spacecowboycoffee.com. Get some discounts when you use promo code Dan.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Some problems now. 40 westbound. There's an accident in Hermitage at Stewart's Ferry Pike. Another one, 65 northbound. Crash blocking off the right lane there. And a crash, too, out at the airport, 40 westbound at Donaldson Pike. Now a crash, 40 westbound at Spence Lane. And then we've got problems this morning in Laverne, 24 westbound at Waldron Road, exit 64. A crash right at the entrance is blocking the right lane there, so be careful as you travel. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
You know, it's kind of cool that our election night party is sponsored by U.S. Pest because the whole point is to get rid of that pesky Kamala Harris.
Yeah, very well done, Dan.
You like that, John?
Yeah,
That's
sure.
Marconi winning comedy right there.
That's right.
That's what it is.
Yeah, baby.
Justify that lucite hunk you got over there. I think people need to see it again. Have you held it up recently?
No, he has not.
Come on,
He
man.
needs to share more often because it is. Today is Take Your Marconi to Work Day.
Yeah.
All right.
And since you're the only one that qualifies.
So 8:35, if you want to watch the Gang of Four, I'll once again show my Marconi on the Super Talk TV.
Or I might sneak in before then and hold it up for people.
Yeah.
Why would you blow the bit, Johnny? Why would you blow the tease?
Because I'm that kind of guy, Dan.
That's very un-Marconi of you.
That's why I don't have one, Dan.
I'm totally kidding. All right, very good. By the way, I've got the hate texters. 5762. Are you going to talk about Trump's dementia and sundowning at his rally in Pennsylvania yesterday, Dan? I'm not sure what sundowning is, but 5762, clearly you have no idea what actually happened, or you're just trying to trigger the affable host. I think that might, I think the hate listeners and the hate texters, I think they smell blood in the water. I think that's what it is. They know that I'm tired and my defenses are down. I'm feeling a little weak today because I did red eye last night. But no, 5762. I know what you're trying to do, but the way that the media is talking about his town hall last night in Pennsylvania, his rally, whatever you want to call it in Pennsylvania, the way the media is presenting it is a complete falsehood from what really happened. I'll talk about that as soon as I pay off the tease about Tren de Aragua in Aurora, Colorado. So a lot to get to here on Nashville's Morning News. Now, a couple of days after J.D. Vance absolutely obliterated and embarrassed Martha Raddatz over her inane comment regarding apartment complexes being taken over by Tren de Aragua.
A handful of problems. Do you hear yourself? Only a handful of apartment complexes in America were taken over by Venezuelan gangs, and Donald Trump is the problem and not Kamala Harris's open border? Americans are so fed up with what's going on, and they have every right to be.
You know what I think? That may be one of my all-time favorite J.D. Vance moments. And you know what? The phrase, do you hear yourself? We should actually use that for responses to all Democrats, right? So you want boys to be able to go into girls' locker rooms and bathrooms. Do you hear yourself? You want all of these illegal aliens to come across our southern border, and you're telling us that the border is open, or you're telling us the border is closed. Do you hear yourself? I mean, you could use that for just about any Democrat argument on policy because, quite frankly, none of them make a lick of sense. You could have that as the permanent moniker for cringe Jean-Pierre. Do you hear yourself? Now, about Tren de Aragua, a fed-up landlord in the Denver suburb of Aurora, Colorado, has now shared, by the way, I tweeted this out. I put this on my X feed. You can see the photo. A bloody photo of one of the workers at this apartment complex that Tren de Aragua had taken over. He had been beaten to a pulp by members of the brutal Venezuelan prison gang for refusing to let them stay in a vacant apartment that they had taken over. Do you know they have one story in this article where a guy had gone off on vacation. He comes back and he finds these Venezuelan gang members had taken over his apartment. And there was nothing he could do. They wouldn't get out. He was like, well, can I at least get a few things? Yeah, get your pictures and get out. And so now the landlord, the owners of this apartment complex, and there's several, they're out of Brooklyn. Brooklyn-based company claimed that the gang effectively stole entire apartment complexes out from under it by threatening employees and trying to extort it for a cut of the rent in exchange for being allowed to keep operating the properties. So this company, CBZ Management, that's CBZ Management, they basically have been watching all of these policymakers in Colorado, all of these lawmakers and the local police, and nobody will help them. And then they're watching the media completely hide or say that this is not happening in Aurora, Colorado, and they're raising their hands and they're saying, we own these properties, and yes, it is happening. They're saying, we have contacted the police. Nobody will do anything. We've contacted local lawmakers. We've contacted mayors. We've contacted, senators and Congress people and so nobody will help them. And the question is why? Why will nobody help them? I think the reason why nobody will help them, nobody will help the apartment building owners that have been taken over by Tren de Aragua, because if they admit that this is actually happening, it would look very bad for Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. And I think that's why this very, very blue state run by Democrats, they don't want this really to see the light of day. That's what's going on. But they're saying this gang has a foothold in Aurora, Colorado. And these lawmakers are lying to you, and these media outlets, these so-called journalists, are lying to you when they say that this whole thing has just been debunked. It is 7:45, time to check the roads on WTN. Thank you, Christy. Mostly cloudy today, a high of 61. Right now, 48 degrees at Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I love this audio bite from last night's town hall. So here's what happened. I guess it was really hot inside the building or something, but a couple of people actually fainted as the town hall was in progress. And so Donald Trump, number one, he did ask this question.
They're both okay. Yes. They're both in good shape.
And that's wonderful.
Would anybody else like to faint? Please raise your hand.
And we got the people right, you got the medical people right there. So if you want to faint, go ahead. But what they had to do, because Trump couldn't go on with the event while the medical people are working on the two that fainted. So he stopped. He stopped taking questions. He stopped giving speeches and so forth. And they decided they were going to start playing music. And so then Trump, of course, decides, you know what? Why do we sit here in silence? Let's play some music. You know what they played? They played YMCA by the Village People. And there's actually video out there. I should post this. Let me see if I can find it again. I hate to say it this, but Donald Trump, man, he was enjoying the heck out of the Village People in YMCA. He was jamming to the music. He was doing that whole Trump shuffle thing that he does, and he was on stage. He was having a good time, and the media is portraying this as a certain way. The media is portraying this as Donald Trump, just for whatever reason, whatever weird reason, he stopped doing the town hall. He stopped doing the speech. And he just started aimlessly walking around the stage. There's media outlets that are actually reporting that. I mean, if you think the media, by and large, is trustworthy, then you've really got to pay attention. Now, I didn't draw the short straw today, so I'm not watching MSNBC. But I would be interested to see how they're presenting this, because there are media outlets that are just completely lying about what happened. They're just saying that Donald Trump is wandering around the stage like an old guy in a bathrobe wandering around the neighborhood. And that's not what happened. Trump was absolutely being, what's the right word? Empathetic to the people that fainted. Because he doesn't want to be up there taking questions while, the paramedics are helping folks. He just doesn't. So the media, I know that this is a big shock. The media is lying about this whole thing. I want to know, super texters, what other music did they play? Because there was like some classical music that he played. This is kind of weird stuff. It was very eclectic. That's what I'll say. It was very eclectic. The best one, my opinion, was the Village People and YMCA. Now, I don't know if he actually did the whole, YMCA thing. I don't know if they actually did that, and the people on the Super Talk TV just got to see me do the YMCA thing. But I don't think that he did that all because that would be all over social media. Let's see here. He played Ava Marie. Okay, thank you. He played Ava Marie. You know what they did too? Andrea Bocelli. Okay. Do you know they also did Hallelujah? And it was such a beautiful version of Hallelujah. I don't know. Yes, thank you, 3571. They did Hallelujah. They did Ava Marie Pavarotti. I'm not exactly sure who Andrea Bocelli is. Do you know who that is, Johnny?
Andrea Bocelli, yeah. He's a very...
I completely shanked it.
Yeah. It was...
Andrea Bocelli. You know what? I am such an uncultured swine.
Is Andrea Bocelli the blind? Is he blind?
I don't know if he is.
No, that was Stevie Wonder. And Ray Charles.
I'm going to tell you in a minute. He's blind.
It's Andrea Bocelli. I never
Andrea Bocelli.
Yes.
Andrea.
Very good singer.
Yes.
Anyway, whatever. So, they, November. He played November Rain?
Wow. Well, he went deep cuts, didn't
Way to go, Donald Trump, man.
Sir.
I love that. Yeah, you know what? I think somebody said, another super texter. They're really coming in. Somebody said that when he was really, boogieing down with the Trump dance, it was to November Rain. Because I don't know how you boogie on down to Hallelujah.
I don't even know how you. November Rain really isn't a.
You could headbang to November Rain.
Really?
Have you ever heard the guitar solo?
Yeah, the guitar solo is.
Yeah,
it comes to life then.
Do you know? I realized that November Rain was the beginning of the end for Guns N' Roses. Have you seen the video? Like
yes.
when your lead singer starts swimming with dolphins, you know that the end is near.
But that video shot of Slash though, that was the.
You'll have to remind me.
He's out it's almost like in a desert outside.
In front of like a church or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was very well done.
October, let's see here. What is today? Yeah, this is today. 4417 actually says that the audio bite that I just played of Donald Trump.
They're both okay. Yes. They're both in good shape.
That's wonderful.
Would anybody else like to faint? Please raise your hand.
This is why people love Donald Trump.
Anybody else want to?
This is why everybody loves Donald Trump, man. All right, 7:52 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Apparently, I was also mispronouncing Ava Marie.
Ave Maria.
Yes.
What is wrong with me?
We weren't going to say anything. But...
Oh, no, you could go ahead, man.
Okay, all right.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it I mispronounced the other day?
We love you.
A couple of weeks ago, I mispronounced something, and you both just totally jumped on me for it. I forget what it was.
Yeah.
When you shank things, we don't always like to call your attention to it.
No, we'll do it in a break or something.
Yeah.
You'll just talk about me behind my back.
Well,
that's what you'll do. Or on the radio.
But we do it in a loving manner.
Oh, yes, I know.
Yeah.
You're laughing. You're laughing with me, not at me.
That's right.
Yes.
That's what it is.
That's exactly what it is.
All right. Joan, what's coming up in the news?
We'll tell you about 3 weeks out until Election Day, and we'll take a look at early voting. Ballots are already being cast. Also, The new name being added to Nashville's Walk of Fame. We've got it all for you coming up at 8 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. 7:53 on Super Talk 99.7. Dan Mandis here. Now is the time to call my friends at Cove Generators. I just saw on TV that they've still got a lot of people without power in North Carolina and also Florida. You need a backup home standby generator from my friends at Cove Generators. Don't let that happen to you. Now, they've also got great financing options as well. And right now, they're offering you a free 7-year warranty that is worth over $1,000. So, yes, if you've ever wanted a backup home standby generator, now is the time to do it. My buddy Generator Dave and the entire team at Cove Generators, they are there to answer all of your questions about how to keep the power on when outages happen. So call them, tell them Dan told you to reach out. They are your official Generac standby generator dealer here in the state of Tennessee. 931-559-3311, 931-559-3311 for Cove Generators. You can also find them online, covegenerators.com.
Well, hello there, 8 o'clock now, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We are looking at 46 degrees right now, but we'll get up to just 61 later. Yeah, it's chilly this morning, and we've got the forecast coming up along with traffic, and there are a couple of trouble spots this morning. 40 eastbound, a crash blocking 2 right lanes at Charlotte Avenue, and then another one this morning on 65 northbound lanes at Moores Lane exit. The right lane in that area is blocked, and we'll have more in traffic coming up. Well, there are about 3 weeks left until Election Day, but many folks have already cast their ballots in early voting.
More than 5 million Americans have actually already voted. That's across well more than half of the states. That pace is actually down from 4 years ago when COVID drove record early voting. And while we don't know exactly who voted for whom yet, we do know that more likely Democrats are voting early than likely Republicans. Republicans have actually picked up their pace from 4 years ago. There were more Republicans voting early than last time around.
That's ABC political director Rick Klein. Well, the search is on for the man suspected of shooting a woman to death at a popular Antioch park last evening. Channel 4 reports the woman's body was found at the entrance of a walking trail at Mill Run Park. Witnesses say they could hear the woman calling for help before she was shot.
I feel for the family. I feel for her because it could have been anybody. It could have been any of these young ladies that's walking and just trying to, get out here and enjoy the atmosphere. It could have been anybody. It's really sad.
Police said a male suspect fled in a gray 4-door sedan. A controlled burn got out of control last night and set a garage on fire. This happened near Springfield on Old Highway 41 North near Highway 161. Smoky Barn News says fire crews were able to put out the flames before it continued to spread to nearby woods. Got 'em. Metro Nashville police busting 2 24-year-olds last night, charging them in the shooting during homecoming celebrations on Jefferson Street Saturday. Police say Marquez Davis and DeAnthony Brown have gang connections. One person was killed in that shooting. 9 were wounded. Well, guess whose name is being added to Nashville's Walk of Fame? Country music star Luke Combs is getting a spot on Nashville's Music Mile landmark on October 30th during an induction ceremony. Great timing, too. Combs' new bar, Category 10, is slated to open on November 2nd in downtown Nashville. Love a little music with our morning news, right? That is the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Wow, full screen this morning. 40 eastbound lanes before exit 209. 2 right lanes are blocked off by a crash. Also, one blocking the right lane on 65 northbound just past exit 69. Now, we've got an accident too southbound on 69 at Harding Place. The accident blocking the right shoulder. An accident as well in Nashville, Haywood Lane at Apache Trail. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Information fueled, opinion driven. This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
We talk news.
8:06, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on in. Johnny B's here. Joan Jones is here. I'm here. Thank you for being here. Headline from The Hill. Donald Trump edges out Kamala Harris with early voters in battleground states. Got two words for you. Oh, snap. Former President Donald Trump has a slight edge over Vice President Harris with early voters in battleground states. New polling shows a promising sign for the Republicans in the highly competitive presidential race. This does not mean that tomorrow, when we start early voting, that you don't go and you vote. You got to go out. You got to vote early. I'm going to go tomorrow. Joan and I have decided that we're all going to go and early vote on the same day. Johnny, you in?
I was in before you guys said it.
Okay, so me, Joan, and Johnny. Join us at Nashville's Morning News as we go vote early.
You know, we should take pictures of ourselves as well and post it so that we prove that we're out there doing it, and we want others to do it too.
Yeah, vote early, vote often.
That's right.
I don't think you're allowed to, take a picture of yourself actually voting. Who was it that got arrested for that? Somebody, got in big trouble. Some celebrity.
There was a celebrity, yes. I can't remember
Really?
who it was.
Who was that? Was that Justin Timberlake?
I think it was. I think you're right.
No, he got arrested for drunk driving.
Well, he did, but I think he did get in trouble for...
He's been in all kinds of trouble.
He just doesn't think sometimes.
Troubling young man.
But he's a troublemaker. You can see it in his face.
Boy, you sure can.
But no, he took a picture of the booth, and you're not supposed to do that.
He did. Yeah, that's exactly what he did.
Yeah.
So anyway, so tomorrow's the big day. So yes, Johnny, Joan, and I, we're going to go do our civic duty. And Johnny, who are you going to vote for?
Let me think. Maybe it's that pheasant hunting guy. I don't know. Guy that doesn't know how to load his gun properly.
A Harvard Caps-Harris poll found 48% of voters. You know what's amazing? He actually looks like Elmer Fudd.
He does, and acts like him.
Yes.
And when he's got the hat on, too. And
he's got the, it's like the whole thing.
You wascally webbit.
A Harvard Caps-Harris poll found 48% of voters who said they would cast their ballots early in critical swing states did pick Donald Trump. 47% sided with Kamala Harris. Another 5% of respondents said they went with another choice or had not yet voted. What I want to know is how many people are undecided? Do you guys think there's people that are undecided yet?
Boy, if there are,
there's no way.
They need to get out of business. Because if you're undecided at this point, you probably shouldn't even go vote, to be honest.
Or just go ahead and trust us. Vote for Donald Trump.
There you go.
Trump's swing state strategy, they say, is paying off. I mean, Trump is going to be in Georgia today. You know, he's going to be going after Kamala Harris and her economic policies. I really do hope that Trump goes after this thing that she released yesterday. It's so stupid. 3 weeks before people go vote on Election Day, and in places we already, again, have early voting. And she comes out with an official race-based policy on economic, gimmies. And so all of a sudden she's like, oh, yeah, these are 5 things that we're going to do specifically for black men. And it's like, are you kidding me? Really? That's what you want to do? What about white people? What about Hispanics? I mean, I guess, do you know what I guess?
What about transgenders?
Yes. What about if, I'm white, but I identify as black? Then can I get that one of those $1,020,000 loans to start a business? Inquiring minds want to know. But she's getting blasted, as she should, because as most people are saying, and I hope Donald Trump brings this up, 4 years in the Senate, 4 years in the VP office, he didn't do anything. You even started your campaign. You didn't do anything until you suddenly realized that you were not hitting it with you weren't getting support for the black men. from the black men. They say a small handful of battleground states will be key to deciding who wins the Oval Office this fall, as Harris and Trump enter the home stretch with a razor-tight race, they say, with less than a month to go until Election Day. Polling has shown the White House rivals locked in narrow races in Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, Pennsylvania, and elsewhere. But right now, see, here's the part of the bigger story that it doesn't look like the Hill doesn't even cover this part of the story. But to me, the biggest part of the story isn't that Donald Trump is edging ahead of Kamala Harris in these battleground states. No. Biggest part of the story is the amount of momentum Donald Trump has gained and how much momentum Kamala Harris has lost. That's the bigger part of the story. And that, quite frankly, some places they're not covering, which is fine, whatever. But I just do. I think this whole thing is fascinating. I cannot wait until election night. Hey, by the way, you guys seen the big drone story? I thought this was really interesting. I think everybody else talked about it yesterday.
We did it yesterday.
Who did?
I did. Are you talking about the drones over the...
Well, but there's been an update.
Oh, please do tell.
Joan.
Do tell me, Dan.
I will. Because now... sometimes I don't really know what to say when people say things like that to me. It's like, I guess I will. I'll just go ahead and start talking. Apparently now there's a story in the Daily Mail. So you had the 17 nights of drones over Langley Air Force Base in Virginia. Now the Daily Mail has a big story about how these drones are operated by some sort of a mothership. Did we have that yesterday?
We did not.
There you go.
Break the news, Dan. Go for it. So it had to be. They did say earlier that the drones were coming over the Chesapeake Bay, which, by the way, is enormous.
Yeah, it's huge.
But there are, and in that area, you'd have to go a long way to send a drone if it was going to come off ground on the other side of the Chesapeake. So, yeah, it would have to come off a ship in the Chesapeake Bay.
And here's what they're saying. What they're saying is that, and if you've seen some of the videos out there, it is incredible. But what they're saying is even the technology that they have to, see these drones, radar these drones, stop these drones, it's not working. The anti-drone technology of our own military is not working. And I don't know. Personally, I think it's horrifying that we don't know if this is China or some dude, in his garage or some guy out on a boat somewhere. And they're talking about how many total drones did they say that there were?
I don't remember.
It's a lot. It's a lot. And they're also saying that this is happening all across the country, not just, in Virginia and Langley. And we've talked about this before. You and I have, Johnny, where they have these drones that have been, checking out our military and our nuclear installations. Now, you can call them drones. You can call them, UFOs or whatever. But the bottom line is we don't know what they are. Now, in this big, long story from the Daily Mail where they talk about how these drones, they're coming out of a mothership. This is happening all across the country. Our technology does not work against this technology. And they're having meetings, but nobody knows what the hell's going on. They just don't know. And they so don't know that they didn't even try to shoot these things down. It's crazy. And so now they have, their Daily Mail is quoting this senior ex-Pentagon security official, Chris Mellon, telling them, the Daily Mail, that this episode was part of a much larger pattern affecting numerous national security installations. As I said, it's happening all across the country. There's a little bit more. 8:15, time to check the roads on WTN. All right, very good. 8:16 on Nashville's Morning News. 49 degrees right now. Today, mostly cloudy and a high of 61. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. So here's what's really weird, is that they're talking to people within the intelligence agencies, and one of the things that they say is that these drones, they're not even trying to hide. It's like the drones are taunting our military, and we're not shooting them down. And I don't know if we could shoot them down even if we tried. The drone signal jamming devices have proven ineffective, and these craft are making no effort to remain concealed. And it's happening on both coasts. It's happening in Virginia on the East Coast. It's happening in California on the West Coast. A spokesperson for Edwards Air Force Base near Palmdale telling the War Zone this August that investigators were monitoring the situation to determine if there is any ill intent. And even if not, we are trying to find out why or who is doing this. What did I say yesterday? Did I say that it was probably China? I forget what I said.
I think you did.
I think I said it's probably China.
And why wouldn't they? I mean, they sent a balloon, and we wouldn't even shoot that down.
Right.
Until it got all over the country.
See, that's what I don't understand. Why? And maybe some people smarter than me can tell me, why don't they just shoot these down?
And then we shoot down a Boy Scout kite, didn't we?
After
that?
Yeah,
after
it was
the
a
balloon?
Boy Scout. Yeah, it was a Boy Scout. It was like a weather experiment
Yes.
kite or something like that.
Yes.
But yeah, is there a reason why we can't shoot down these drones? Is it because our drone eliminators won't lock on to these drones? Because I just said that their anti-drone technology isn't, as they say, locking on to these drones. Over the past 10 months, Air Force investigators, local police, and even NASA analysts operating the space agency's high-tech WB-57F research plane have all taken a crack at trying to identify the mysterious craft with no answers in sight. One guy says, what would ever happen if this happened over the National Mall? If drones ended up, you have 50, 75, 100 drones that are going, really fast, up, down, sideways, and let's be honest. I mean, those drones, they can look pretty intimidating. They're saying the brazenness, the range, the flight, the duration, the reliability, the resistance to countermeasures and indifference to detection, they say, are confounding. So they're really confused by all this. Confounding. So the question is, what should they do? And it doesn't sound like there's anything they can do. That's the thing. These motherships, they say, were extremely fast, larger vehicles that have been observed collecting or releasing swarm of smaller craft. So yeah, the drone busters they're not working. They say the episodes are so disruptive and sustained that an entire fighter wing had to be relocated to another base, according to this guy, Mellon, a military expert. Yeah, I don't know.
But don't worry, they're having meetings.
They're having meetings. I mean, you'd think that they would say, okay, China, if this is you, stop. And now China would probably, this is the thing with having weak leadership is, I don't know. Here, let me go to the super text line. Let me see if anybody can tell me why it is that they can't shoot down these drones. Good Lord. I'm getting a lot. Maybe between the three of us, we'll figure it out. Steve says, no, let's see here. Somebody says, 2034 says, it's not China, Dan, but I don't think it's aliens. Probably some BS. Some BS. I don't know. I don't think the average person has access to like a drone ship that would then release all of these different drones. And by the way, if somebody's got the wherewithal to do that, they don't want to go to jail. You know what I mean? Because, they could go to prison, I would assume.
Well, maybe not under this leadership. But
Yeah, you're right. Maybe not under this leadership. But anyway, really, really interesting. I'm going to go through these, and maybe during the gang of four, I'll see if I can find the information. Why can't these drones as holograms, Peter says. All right. Well, I'm going to have several hundred of these to go through to see if somebody can explain to me why it is that we are unable to shoot these things down. Because to me, I mean, we're just being poked and prodded. You know, what do they call it? Poking the bear? They're poking the bear, and the bear ain't doing anything back. And quite frankly, we really should. This is 822 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And Joan Jones is coming up with her newscast at 8:30. Joan, what is coming up?
Well, we have the latest from Israel as the world waits for a response to Iran's missile attack.
Everything all right there, Joan?
Yes, I'm fine. Thank you. I think I need some of your slippery elm throat, whatever that is.
Slippery elm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Joan, would you like some of my slippery elm?
I think I might, need some, yeah.
Okay. Never make fun of the throat coat. You may need it someday.
Okay. Also, Metro Nashville police arrest 2 people. They have been charged with that Jefferson Street homecoming shooting where 10 people were shot. All that coming up at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you. 822 on Super Talk. You know, when the real estate market slows down, Mark Spain can really help you out with their guaranteed offer. Now, with the guaranteed offer, there's no showings, no open houses, and no stress. It is absolutely hassle-free. You know, fall can be a busy time, and trying to sell your home can be overwhelming. With the guaranteed offer, you'll be on the market, get an all-cash offer, and close within days. And the best part, no stress. Now, one of their clients, Walker, said we had to move fast, and we were worried the process would take too long, and we'd have to spend a lot of money on repairs. He says Mark Spain gave us an offer in 3 days for over our asking price. Now, Mark Spain Real Estate, they've got over 12,000 five-star reviews, and you can trust Mark Spain to sell your home fast and for the most money. So call them, tell them Dan told you to reach out, 855-299-SOLD, 855-299-SOLD. You can always find them online. It's markspain.com to find out what your guaranteed offer would be on your home today. This is markspain.com and start packing.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Hey everybody, Dan Mandis with Nashville's Morning News and Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I was speaking to Dr. Christopher Van Shank the other day at a station event. Now, he's a psychiatrist, and he was telling me about the mental health crisis here in America. And as you know, it's out of control. The COVID lockdowns were an absolute disaster. And Dr. Van Shank, again, he's a psychiatrist. And if you're one of those people, you feel like maybe you need to talk to somebody, I would recommend Dr. Christopher Van Shank. He can help you with addictions, depression, anxiety. He can also help kids with the same thing. He's been doing this for 15 years. He's been helping people, and he is here for you today. So if you want to check out his website is nolensvillepsychiatry.com. That's nolensvillepsychiatry.com. There's a whole list of issues that he can help you with. So check him out. If you feel like he can help you, give him a call. The number is below, and good luck. $8:29, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. How to mess with a talk show host, Johnny? Go ahead and just send a text into the super text line and say something like, "Well, that didn't sound very good." And then you're like, well, "What was it?
Yeah.
What did I screw up?"
What are you talking about?
I got one of those. I'm choosing to ignore it, but we'll see. And by the way, Throat Coat Joan, in case you didn't know, made an appearance on Gutfeld last night.
I did.
On Greg Gut. Did you know that Throat Coat made an appearance on Greg Gutfeld's show?
Oh, Throat Coat did. No.
Yes.
Really?
Wow.
They did. I've had a couple of people on the super text line tell me, and my wonderful wife told me as well that Throat Coat made an appearance. I'm not sure in what, in what way, in what context. So I might have to go back and watch it. But you know what? Listen, I think that you'll notice that we're starting to see Throat Coat everywhere, and I was the guy who started the whole thing.
You were the slippery elm influencer.
It doesn't sound weird at all. No.
Not a bit.
Not at all.
Yeah, I think I'd like to just kind of turn this whole bus right back around. 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7. You know, these days with kids and now grandkids, it is more important than ever to have clean carpets. This is why I use Zero Res to keep my carpets clean and the little ones safe. Now, at Zero Res, they don't use harsh chemicals, and they do leave your carpets insanely clean. No soap and no residue. Just soft, fluffy carpets that are going to stay clean longer. Now, Dan Mandis here, and yes, I've been a Zero Res customer for years. You know, cold and flu season is just around the corner, and your carpet is one of the largest filters in your home. Keep it clean and your family healthy with Zero Res, and right now they've got a great deal. 3 rooms of carpets clean for $119 Plus, you're going to get a free hallway, $100 off of air depth cleaning too when you use promo code FRESH100. Restrictions may apply. 615-535-9376. Call Zero Res. Get that great deal when you mention my name. 615-535-9376. ZeroResNashville.com.
Good morning. It's now 8:31, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We are looking at 46 degrees now, not a warm one today. 61 is our high. The forecast is still to come. Still waiting for Israel's response to Iran after the missile barrage fired on Israel earlier this month. ABC News foreign correspondent James Longman.
ABC understands that Israel has been receptive to the Biden administration's arguments for restraint, i.e. not hitting oil or nuclear sites inside Iran, but Israel has been very clear that they will make their own decision.
Closer to home, Nashville police arresting two 24-year-olds who were taking cover in a short-term rental home last night. Those two have been charged with shooting into the crowds as TSU students and families were celebrating homecoming on Saturday. Channel 4's Steve Mailing.
Listen to the full video, and you can hear around 40 to 50 total shots throughout. Metro Police believe it was two groups firing at each other, with bystanders caught in the crossfire.
Marquez Davis and DeAnthony Brown are in jail this morning. One person died in that shooting and 9 others were injured. And a court has ordered TVA to stop construction immediately on its Cumberland gas line project after an environmental group asked a judge to review 2 water quality permits. Those groups say that the pipelines would cross water sources and any explosions through rock could cause damage. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management online at beaconcm.com. Stock futures this morning are mixed. The Dow futures are pointing down by 143 points, and S&P futures are +4, and NASDAQ futures are up 28 points, and trading has just begun after the opening bell. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 8:33 on Super Talk 99.7. Homeowners, listen up. You know, the Fed has finally taken action, lowering rates for the first time in years, and Loan Pronto has followed suit by lowering mortgage rates big time. Dan Mandis here at Loan Pronto just locked in a homeowner at 4.59% APR. That is the lowest in 2 years. So whether you got your loan last month or last year, it is time to call Loan Pronto and dump that high rate loan. You can lock in a lower rate fast with virtually no paperwork and usually no appraisal. And there's no limit as to how many times you can refi, so get started today. Even if you're in the process with another lender, give Loan Pronto a call right now. If you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Purchase loans also available, so call right now. Get your rate quote in minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like the other guys. 615-499-5780, 615-499-5780. You can find them online. It's loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781. On approved credit, NMLS consumeraccess.org.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Well, let's see. Eastbound 40 at Charlotte Avenue, a crash, and the right shoulder is blocked. In Laverne, 24 westbound lanes at exit 64, another crash reported there. Then Ellington Parkway, northbound at James Robertson Parkway. That's in downtown, a crash. And Elm Hill Pike at Massman Drive, a crash as well. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.38 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time for the Gang of Four. Johnny B's here. Good morning, Johnny.
Good morning.
Joan's here. Hello, Joan.
Hello there.
I'm Dan. Chris is there. Good morning, Chris.
What's up, guys? Good morning.
Hi.
So
what's happening?
Chris and I are trying to remember who was the terrorist that was killed via drone in Pakistan. Do you remember this, Johnny? We talked about it.
Yeah.
Because it was a drone where it's like the guy was on the roof of his house.
Yes.
And this drone like sliced him like meatloaf. Do you remember that story?
I do.
I was fascinated by it because I'm weird that way. But the guy just it like chopped him up like a meat grinder.
Yeah, that was Ayman Zawahiri.
Was that Ayman al-Zawahiri? Was that him?
Zawahiri, yeah.
All right, yeah, in Pakistan.
Yeah, that was 2022.
Is that when he also blew up all those kids, too? Biden did? Is that the same one?
No, I think that was after.
What?
No, I think that was
after.
after
he blew up like 7 kids.
Yeah, that was the pullout of Afghanistan. I remember that was a pullout of Afghanistan, and they thought that they were going after the bomber who killed our military heroes at the airport. And so they thought they had the guy, and they blew up like a family of. I'm not laughing. And they blew up a family of 9.
Yes.
Insanity.
Yeah.
The drones are crazy though. You see what they're doing in Ukraine, where they're flying drones, and there's just like it's basically a suicide drone, right? It has like a little bomb on there, and you'll see soldiers running from them, and they'll get close enough and just explode.
It's kind of frightening.
So the drone. So one drone will take out one person?
Well, it's just like equipped with a bomb. I think it'll take out whoever's
in the
vicinity. Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of those videos.
That is insane. What are you watching?
Too much. I go down rabbit holes. If I watch one person get blown up, I'm probably going to watch 2.
So there's actually video of people getting blown up by drones?
Yeah.
On the internet?
Oh yeah. There's a lot of video coming out of like Ukraine, Russia, that conflict. That's just insane.
Okay.
But that's what I would be worried about. That's what I worry about when I hear about the drones getting that close to military bases.
I don't get it. So I asked on the super text line, why is it that we can't shoot these things down? And I mean, we got a lot of. I mean, I can't go through all these, but one person said, well, we can't shoot down recon drones or research drones. But if they're in our airspace, if they're over Langley Air Force Base, then it seems to me, that we should be able to take it down.
Yeah, as soon as you cross that area. Plus, wouldn't a lot of these military bases have the geofencing capability so the drones are blocked out purposely if they're research or civilian?
As I talked about this in the previous segment. So the problem is that our technology doesn't work. Our anti-drone technology doesn't work on these drones, which that may be the reason why we can't shoot them down.
Harris will fix this by sending another $100 billion to Ukraine.
Yes, that's exactly what she'll do.
Or to Lebanon.
Yeah.
Hey, come on, guys. They're meeting. They're having meetings. They'll solve it.
They are. They're having meetings. It'll all just be fine. Trump would shoot that stuff down in a day.
Yes, he would.
Yeah.
He absolutely would.
If you know they're there, just fire on them.
Ain't that hard, man?
No, it's not.
Well, maybe it is, though. I mean, maybe there's something that we don't know about shooting down a drone versus, shooting down an incoming missile.
Or a balloon.
A balloon. I mean, honestly, they had the chance to get a big fat balloon out of the sky.
Over Wyoming and Montana.
And they didn't do it.
Because it was too populated.
Hey, Chris, did you hear it happened last night at the Trump rally?
I heard it on the way
in Pennsylvania?
Yes, I heard on the way in.
What were the bands that Trump played?
You played what is it? What was it? Hold on, no, I'm trying to remember because you were getting the pronunciations wrong.
Were you okay? So what I'm trying to do is see if Chris shanks the pronunciations as well.
Andrea Bocelli.
There you go. Very well done.
I did the Italian hand too for my Super Talk TV.
You did the whole.
You got it. Oh, very, very good.
Yeah.
Andrea Bocelli.
Bocelli. And then what was the other one? Ava Maria. Ave Maria.
Ave Maria.
Ave Marie.
Ave.
Ave.
You uncultured swine.
I know it. And then the Village People.
And Guns N' Roses.
What
you
an
can't
unlikely
shank that
mix.
one.
Yeah. Talk about a Spotify playlist for the ages.
Yes.
A little something for everyone.
Did you see Trump dancing to Guns N' Roses?
No.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, I need to now.
It's all over the internet.
Is he just doing the Trump shuffle?
It's like the Trump shuffle, but it's an advanced version of it. Like he was really, sort of getting down.
It's like the Trump shuffle 2.0.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. 2.0.
I need that in my life.
Do you?
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to do show and tell one more time because it's 8:35, and so I promised that I would. I don't know if I was promised or I was bullied into bringing in my Marconi, but either way.
Well, it's Bring Your Marconi to Work Day, Dan.
And we don't have one, so you're it.
Yeah, you're the one that has it.
So help me out. Can you see it?
Yes, very good. Lift it up just a little more.
Be careful with that thing. It's really pointed at the top, but we know that you have an affinity for head wounds.
I sure do. And I would be the guy. How did you scrape your forehead on my Marconi?
I was looking at my Marconi. That thing is sweet, Dan.
So it's got my name right there.
Right.
Dan Mandis, large market personality.
That's a real award right there.
This thing's heavy. Did you lift this thing?
I looked at you lifting it, and I assumed it was heavy.
It is. It's very heavy.
I mean, that thing's sweet.
That is sweet.
Look at this.
Yep.
Does it go on the mantle? Are you going to put it on the fireplace?
Do you know what? Amy said.
Dan Mantle.
Amy said.
The
Amy,
dancel.
I think Amy might be working on something. I don't know.
Oh, look at that.
I don't know.
And you would put the name, you'd go name out.
Yeah, of course, name out. Yeah,
dude,
always.
that's sweet.
Yeah.
Always name out.
Boy, that's a good-looking award. I'm glad you brought that in.
So if you want to see what it looks like, go to Super Talk TV, rewind to either 5:35 or 8:35, and if you're listening in your car right now and you care, you can go. You know what? You know what's going to happen? I'm going to go and I very rarely look at our traffic on the socials as far as our videos go.
Yeah.
I'm going to go look at our socials, and I'm going to see if anybody actually more than usual tuned in to see the
Marconi.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
I'm assuming this is Mr. Marconi himself inside the little coin.
Yes.
Is that a fedora or a cowboy hat that he's wearing?
I would think since it's Marconi, so he's...
Yeah.
Nah, that would be a fedora.
Marconi.
Yeah,
I was going to say, is it
don't
Marconi?
believe out there on
Or is
the.
it Marconi?
I don't think he was out there on the Lone Prairie.
Yeah.
I think I'll invent radio. I want to hear some music while I'm out here riding these little dogies.
Do you know what? I've got a good friend in Los Angeles. He's a radio nerd like I am. So I texted him when I won. I got back to the table, and I said Marconi is rolling in his grave. I actually won the award. Chris, what content did you have for this segment?
All right, so I got this story here that's I thought was pretty interesting. There's a DEI trainer at work in Oregon.
Okay,
and she's working for this guy, and she finds out this boss of hers has the audacity to hire people based on merit. So the DEI trainer gets him put on administrative leave.
Are you serious?
Oh, my.
Yep.
Wait, so the employee has the trainer.
No, so the employee is the trainer. So this guy
employee-
hires the DEI trainer.
Yeah.
And then she finds out that he has the audacity to hire based on merit and gets him put on leave. Megan Donaker.
Does she have purple hair?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Very well done, Dan.
Well done.
And a nose ring. I mean, all the warning signs. All the warning signs.
Yeah.
Megan Donaker was outraged that her work superior, Mike Shaw, would tell her that he meant to hire the candidates most qualified for the job and not on the basis of race, ethnicity, or sexuality. And that revelation prompted her to file a complaint against him. Shaw, who has a $192,000 a year job as deputy head of Oregon's Department of Forestry, is on administrative leave because he was hiring based on merit.
That is insanity.
And I bet he's having to watch 5 videos right now.
Makes your head want to explode.
Well, he was making employees feel not safe or comfortable at work by hiring based on merit.
By hiring based on merit.
This is true.
The pressure's on.
Unbelievable.
Said it was impossible to have a conversation around pronouns. That's in the article.
Wow. Our new world.
So
You know what's so funny about that is that they wonder why it is that companies are going under. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so if you're that dude that makes $192,000, you're hiring based on merit, you get in trouble for hiring based on merit. Now what do? Do you now go and you start hiring based on, pronouns or whatever?
you'd have to. You would have to. So the only way to win is to drive the company into the ground.
That's exactly right.
That's the only form of job security is to just at least slow the decline.
Well, I mean, look what's happening with the Biden administration and Karine Jean-Pierre. They can't fire her. Like, they've been trying to. I know you probably covered the story. I know I talked about it, where they've been trying to get their big-time Democrat donors to offer her a job so that she'll leave.
Oh, my
and she
gosh.
won't leave.
Nobody wants to hire her.
No, I mean, they had, remember, it was Angie's List offered her a job, and she said no.
How much did they offer her? What do you think Angie's List would pay Karine Jean-Pierre?
Well, what is she worth, or what are they willing to pay?
I think those are both valid questions.
Yes. I mean, I don't think she's worth a whole heck of a lot, but I bet they'd be willing to pay a lot because they're a bunch of leftists, and they know that Karine Jean-Pierre is terrible for the Democrats, terrible for the Biden administration because she's not very good at her job. But thank God that she's black and gay.
Check.
Yeah, she checked all the boxes.
It's apparently the only redeeming qualities, according to the Biden administration.
Man alive.
And she's also female, so that's three
You're right.
boxes.
Yep.
This is true.
But let me ask you this question. Is female still a box?
Yeah, it's been compromised, hasn't it?
Yeah.
You can
it
jump
has.
in and out of that box as much as you want.
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
I'm just asking a question,
I feel like that box has lost value.
Yeah. Well, there's also when there's a lot more boxes, because now you've got. I mean, gosh, if you, I better not say what I'm going to say.
editing himself right here.
You know what? Yeah,
editing in real time.
Yes, sir.
I don't want the day that I show my Marconi to be my last day in radio. Can you imagine that?
Hold it up as you're leaving. Hey, but I got this.
Stab myself with the top of the Marconi. All right. Chris, what's coming up?
Well, we're going to talk about those drones over military bases. We're going to talk about the fresh implosion of Kamala Harris. Plus, Trump last night was just absolutely on fire. But you may have missed the Doug Emhoff interview with MSNBC yesterday. But I got you that interview with First Doug.
First Doug.
First Doug.
First Doug. Dougie.
Dougie. All right, very good. How cringe is it?
It's pretty cringe. It's pretty cringe. Oh, and Kamala learned another thing from Joe Biden. Did you catch that? Did you cover that today?
Remind me.
Plagiarism during a presidential campaign.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Plagiarism.
Yeah,
Plagiarism. Because I said earlier today, I said, isn't that how Joe Biden actually got tossed from that first time he ran for president?
Yes, it
He got
is.
caught plagiarizing.
Yep.
So now Kamala Harris has done the same damn thing. Why can't she go away?
And the word is that it's worse than they even wanted to admit.
But
Wasn't she plagiarizing from Wikipedia?
Yes, like she's some high school student.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
She plagiarized from Wikipedia?
She lifted it right from Wikipedia. And here's the thing.
She's not even good at it.
I'll give you some inside baseball. Like, nobody writes their own books.
No.
Nobody writes their own books.
That's true.
That's very true.
So hire a ghostwriter. Just do that.
Well, she wrote this book with someone. I mean, she had a co-author, I think, didn't she?
Her parts were the stolen ones.
Yeah, that's what she.
Listen,
that's what she contributed.
you handle pages, 75, 102, and 99, and those happen to be the pages that had the thievery on it.
Weird. So we'll cover all that.
All right, very good. 8:52, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan Jones is here for the news at 9.
Well, I'll tell you, President Trump is launching his crypto company today. Also, did FEMA pull a switcheroo with funds that were meant for disaster relief? House Republicans say they are on it. Those stories coming up at 9 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. 8:53 on WTN. Dan Mandis here for Window Nation. Now, this is my window company. I love these folks. They put new windows in my basement studio, my bedroom, and my kitchen. Now, here's what's going on. Prime window buying season is going on right now because the weather is about to turn cold, even colder than it is today. So if your windows are going to allow the warm air out and the cold air in this winter, you need to act right now. Window Nation is looking out for you with a great special going on right now. Buy 2 windows, get 2 windows free, plus pay nothing with no interest for 2 full years. That is a great deal. Window Nation has over 33,000 5-star reviews on Google and a big 5-star review from my house. New windows can be installed in a day or less, and they come with a lifetime warranty. So many reasons to love Window Nation. Take advantage of that great deal right now. Buy 2 windows, get 2 free, plus pay nothing with no interest for 2 full years. Again, a great deal. Call them. Tell them I told you to reach out. 866-90-NATION, 866-90-NATION, windownation.com. Dan Mandis here. Probably the number one question I get from listeners is, how can I get involved in the conservative fight? Well, it is critical to know where your dollars are going. You know that most credit cards are funneling millions of dollars to the left. But now you have a choice. Coin is America's conservative credit card. That's right. Coin is America's conservative credit card. You earn cash back while fighting that liberal agenda. Apply now at coin.com. That's COIGN, coin.com. Terms apply. Go to coin.com/disclosures for full details. COIGN.com.